Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for another Chelsea show for you. A late one, guys. A late Chelsea show for you. In fact, some things have changed a little bit. We're now doing shows exclusively on just GNA TV now. So you'll see a lot more of me on the channel in regards to GNA TV and shows. What I need you guys to do right now is smash the likes and share it out if you can as well, guys. I would massively appreciate it. What we're going to be talking about today, we're going to be doing player ratings. We're going to be doing a tier maker player rating today, guys. So we're going to be actually talking about the players, how they performed at this point, what our thoughts and feelings are about them as well. So we'll be going through that as well. We're also going to be talking about a little bit about the game as well. I have got the panel coming in at some point when they're ready to join me and go through today's show. It is a little bit of a late one. Obviously, this is a little bit different for us in terms of timing. So I'm not going to be too shocked when it comes to the numbers and views and things like that we've got in here, because again, we're going to be working on trying to get this show in itself back up to where it used to be, which is over 200 people in the lives and kicking. But we will get there. I just need everyone in the chat to do me a favor. Smash the likes, share it out as well. Please, guys, if you smash the likes, it helps this channel so much. I don't think people realize it. Smash the likes, share it out. Do what you can on it, guys, and let's cue that intro. Welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you are all well and having a great day. A great day is what I'll say. Mr. Couch Critic in the house. Yeah.
What's going on?
How are we doing, man? 3 little words. Up the Chelsea. It always is up the Chelsea, isn't it?
I haven't changed it since the the last match. What was it, Villa? So that was just a reference to the 3 little birds being played there. But everything's good. Feeling good about the team, feeling good about the performances the last little while, and just looking for that to continue. We need some consistency. That's what we all crave, right?
100%. Big up, Matt, man. How you been, bro? Long time no see. How are you, brother? Joe's back from the grave. I think you're back from the grave, brother.
For real. And not only that, ask him how he's feeling about I guess I should ask him, how you feel about Zachariah now? I remember you're like, that guy should be playing more. I need to be asking you these questions, but yeah, maybe next time, man.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, listen, Matt, you ever want to come in, mate, just drop me a message. You're more than welcome to come in, man. But yeah, we're going to be doing more on the GNA TV side of things. Obviously, I know I took that long break off and everything sort of slowed down. And to be fair, the timing for us right now is not the normal timing for us to go live. So these are all things that we're going to be working on and trying to grow again. I remember we used to have 200 people in this live, man. I used to be on so much. We used to have, GNA TV used to go off, man. You know what I mean? It was a good...
It still does. Still does.
It does. I mean, we nearly got 20 people here already, so I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. But yeah, it's it'll work its way.
I have the footage, man. Don't make me clip you, man. Don't make me clip you.
I've been on Terrace a lot, Jen. That's it from me. Yeah, to be fair, I need to get myself on it because Terry keeps asking me to come on. He's like, "Why do you not come on anymore? Like, you need to come on for at least once or twice." So I might try and make an appearance. It's just that I find it hard going on there with so many deluded rivals. It does my head in class, but you on back. No worries, bro. No worries. Couch, before we start talking about the City game, which we didn't get to review, obviously we're going to do like a tier maker today as well on the players currently, where they are, how we feel about them as well. We're going to be talking about them individually, what we've seen. I want to just quickly talk about, yes, Chelsea boy, welcome, bro. Good to see you. Welcome in. I just want to quickly fly through some bits that we had today come in. Something that probably don't shock us as Chelsea fans, but Chelsea have done a bit of business again. And I'm talking about from the boards element, and they've signed Brighton's head of recruitment, Sam Jewell, who agrees to join Chelsea. He will be part of a multi-club project to bring in and select new players. He's been placed on gardening leave as Mike Cave and George Holmes will all assume Jewell's responsibilities, for them to confirm and whatever. I mean, first things first, Couch. What is it with Chelsea and Brighton?
I don't know. I really feel like, our directors, our owners, if they're really that infatuated with Brighton, why didn't they just buy Brighton, man? I'm sure they could have, saved themselves a few quid too to get Brighton in the mix. But you know, like again, it's about like
Good.
it's about like really building this entire, you know, structure and whatnot, and getting people in that they feel are the brightest and the best at what they do.
Yeah,
And you know, if they believe that that comes from Brighton, then by all means. But for me, I'm always about like track record, you know, like
yeah,
consistency, like who's won. Like I remember, you know, when Roman first bought Chelsea, like the first thing he did was go after Manchester United's Peter Kenyon to bring him in to start
yeah,
building the structure. And like
yeah,
it seems like for us, we're going with these people that don't really have a track record for success, for winning. We're just going
yeah.
for, you know, people that they may know and who they trust, I guess, in those roles, which I guess is not a bad model to follow. But I need winners, man. I need winners within that, you know, that structure that have, you know, a track record for building successful teams. And you know, we're just gonna have to deal with it, I guess. But you know, apparently, he's good at what he does, so you know, we're just gonna have to go with it and see what happens.
Exactly. We all actually declared. Welcome in, Chelsea boy. Good to see you. Everyone that's sitting now, nearly 30 people. Big up, guys. Do me a favor, keep smashing the likes, guys. It really does help us get pushed back out on YouTube as well and then invite some new people in. Quick one. Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a weird one again because it just tells me that they're still trying to follow that same sort of suit that they've decided to start with from the beginning in terms of who they've brought across at board level. But it's also interesting. And I agree with what you said. Like, you want some people with, I don't know. You want the people in them sort of positions, in them sort of commands, in what, you know, what's going on in the ins and outs of Chelsea, the recruitment and that. Eden Hazard came out of a very good comment on his podcast with Obi Mikel. I don't know if you watched that, Couch. It was actually, I watched it the other day. I really enjoyed it actually. And he said one of the big things, not only was Chelsea winning the Champions League, but when he actually met, because Chelsea weren't in this, by the way. This is Chelsea weren't even in the talk to Eden Hazard. He even confirmed it as well. It was only because we won the Champions League that then it came, and then Roman obviously met him in the south of France. I think he said he had a little chat with him in the south of France, and he said they couldn't talk. But the real big key factor in all of it was Emiliano. Emiliano. Do you remember the director we had
Michael
back then?
Manalo, yeah, of course.
Emiliano. He said one of the big keys as to why we actually got an agreement and got to where we needed to in it was because he was there and he could speak French to him, and obviously he could go back to Abramovich and obviously get the point across to him as well. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, how important these little individuals are in getting deals done like that, where there's a barrier in language between Hazard and Abramovich, who are completely talking different languages. They're probably just staring at each other.
Which is weird to me because I guess it was just at the position where they just had to get the big guns in there. Because I don't think that like you would send Roman to go negotiate a deal with Hazard, right? Like Roman would be sending his people, right? So it seems kind of odd that he was even there to begin with. But yeah, no, there's nothing like having people that you know can relate to the individuals and whatnot that you're going after. And like language is obviously a major stumbling block. And you know, apparently this guy speaks multiple languages.
He does. Yeah, that was a big thing. So we'll see. We'll see what happens at a later. But these kind of things, it's not much to really say other than you wait and see. Like we've been doing with Winstanley and Stewart. It's like, how have they been doing since they've been brought in? A lot of Chelsea fans are very upset with what they've done up to this point. And you've got to also look on the flip side of it. They have done some quite good things as well. When you look at some of the players that they have,
let's list them. What do you think is a good thing?
Gusto. I wouldn't say Nkunku because he came before all of that, so I wouldn't say that. So I'd say him. Disassi, from what I'm seeing now, I think that's a big one for me. That really caught me off guard. Forward's just come in as well. Who else have we got in here? I'm still not sure on Cucurella. Still a little bit stuck with that one. I'm not too sure if how I feel about that, whether it's a good signing or not a good signing. Some people say they want him gone. To be quite honest with you, the way Chilwell's playing at the moment, I can't wait for Cucurella to come back. You know, I'm not going to say that I'm very happy with the Mudryk signing because I'm not at the moment. I'm still very content with it, but at the same time, I kind of know where he is. I actually like the Madueke signing as well. I know a lot of people were a little bit iffy about it, but I do think Madueke, I think there's a player in Madueke as well. Cole Palmer is a big one, obviously. Let's not forget about Cole Palmer. You know, Cole Palmer, the decision-making of bringing Cole Palmer in. I remember when the news first came out about Cole Palmer coming to Chelsea out of all the other options we had, and everyone was like, 50 million for Cole Palmer? He's not even kicked that much ball for City. Like, what are we doing here? Like this is too many. There's too many. Too many youngsters coming to the football club. Petrovic is a very good one. I like that one. That's a very good shout as well. I mean, Petrovic is. I like Petrovic. I know Couch is not massively fond of him, but I like Petrovic.
I wouldn't say that. I think he's a decent keeper. It's the distribution for me that's always going to be a factor. When you need, and for me, the distribution's just not good enough right now. But we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, look, they've done some good. Ultimately, they've done some bad signings. Let's not forget about Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo and all that as well. But I think there were more higher board level signings, if that makes sense. Yeah, like Oli's and the Egg Bellies had to kind of get involved in that one to get it over the line. But let's move on from that. Forward, how are you, bro? Good to see you.
Ads and I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Hope everyone's doing as good as well. Obviously, everybody in the chat, get a like stuff, get a comment up as well. And yeah, I'm doing good.
Strictly GNA TV from now on, guys. No Chelsea fan TV anymore. Well, actually, there will be Chelsea fan TV lives, but it's going to be transfer related, I've been told. So let's see what happens at a later stage. Right, now forwards here, because I know he's been banging on in the group about
get it right. Come on.
I'm so used to calling him forward now.
I know it's gonna be a slow transition, but
every time I say your name in the show, it's gonna be very hard for me to say Ads all the time. Do you know what I mean? Right, Man City, Chelsea. Obviously, we didn't really get to speak about it as of match reactions and whatever. But I think what we should do is maybe just talk about it from a tactical standpoint, and then maybe just highlight some of the key areas of why we felt that we performed as well as we did, and maybe where we got it wrong a little bit as well at the end. In my opinion, I think there's a bit of both to talk in. But first, I've got to highlight these comments here, because when a Tottenham fan who's, just be quite honest, not really a good football player, is talking about our football club, moaning about what did he say? He said Tim Sherwood, Chelsea have taken a lot of credit for this game against City, but I don't see it. If Haaland takes these chances, they get beat 5-1. They were awful. They were bang average. Now, forward, I want to go to you on this. Will we bang average, like Mr. Sherwood's saying here, or again, do you think this is just a bit salty? Like, is he right? If Haaland takes these 2 or 3 chances, do we actually lose this game by 4 or 5 goals? What's your thoughts?
It's Ads again, by the way. But no, but no, in all seriousness, no,
just take forward out of your name, man, altogether. Just get rid of
that's just the Twitter handle, and maybe eventually that will change. But I feel like it was cool back in the day, but I don't really want to be called a direction anymore. So yeah, but no, obviously onto the game. Listen, out the bat, I thought we were very good, very very good, certainly for at least an hour, right? And again, salty talk like this, it's just obviously silly. We came to execute a game plan. We didn't come to dominate all of the ball and pin City back. No, we decided to sit in our mid block for the most part and hit in transition. And of course, when we did decide to play football, we played some really good stuff. Like we pierced through City's press multiple times. We also picked up almost a press high and forced mistakes from the likes of Edison as well. So ultimately, it was a good performance. And listen, you're going to Etihad, or as I call Etihel, they always put you under pressure. They always create chances. And again, just look at the teams that they beat over the last, I think, 13, 14 months. They destroyed Real Madrid there, destroyed Arsenal there. They destroyed Bayern Munich there. They beat pretty much everybody. And it was only until, I think, Liverpool went there and got a draw, that was the first time they didn't win a game in like 13, 14 months at home. So yeah, it's no mean feat what we did. Like it was a good performance. And yeah, I think people trying to downplay and say that, oh, we got bad, we could have conceded chances. Like that's always going to happen at the Etihad. So yeah, that's nonsense from someone like Tim Sherwood. But again, do I expect any better from him? Of course not.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Couch, your thoughts on these comments here from a Spurs fan out of anything? And do you agree? Do you think we were a little bit lucky that Haaland did miss the 2 or 3 chances that he did?
I think it was an even game when you think of chance creation. I thought Chelsea had a number of chances as well to score goals that they didn't take, right? So, it wasn't so much that they battered us. Like it wasn't like he had like maybe the 2 or 3 A1 chances that he normally takes, but we also had A1 chances that we didn't take either, right? Like, yeah. So for me, it was more just about the overall sort of like structure of the game that I thought was really impressive, and the fact that we kind of like executed a game plan quite well. That was the main takeaway for me. The fact that we were able to go to Etihad, execute a game plan, stifle them, take Rodri out of the game, which is massive. And, for the first time, just basically took away a top side's ability to play football. Like we haven't done that a lot this year, you know, just taking away their ability to play football, especially at Etihad of all places too. So, you know, there's a lot to build on there for sure.
Let's talk about Poch, because he has got a lot of stick of recent from a lot of the fans about how he sets us up tactically, how he handles the game through the game itself, from the first half to the second half, substitutional decisions, tactical decisions, etc. I mean, forward, would you say this is not say one of the first games, but when we talk about the bigger teams from this season, do you think this is one of the first times, barring maybe the Arsenal game at home, that he set us up in the correct manner? And could you see what he was trying to do? Could you see the manager in him, is what I'm trying to say, as of what we've maybe not seen in games where we've been quite frustrated about his lack of capabilities, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, he has set up well in a lot of games, and obviously we can't ignore the start of the season where like we were dominating a lot of the early periods in games, winning all of our games on XG and all of this stuff, but then just obviously not taking our chances, having individual mistakes at the back, which then obviously led to us conceding and then losing games. And some of that is on the manager, but most of that was on the players, and the players that obviously Poch inherited, right? So there have been times obviously he set us up well for sure, and this was another example of that. And this 4-4-2 box formation, obviously off the ball, we've seen it work in the past against the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City at home. We tried something similar at Anfield, but obviously the pressing structure was poor. And I think a big part of why we weren't as good in terms of getting out of the press was that we had our best player in terms of like creating in those situations in transition, Cole Palmer, as a false nine. Again, we tried that at Anfield, and that just did not work for me at all. And I feel like that was a big part of why we had so much success down our right-hand side, and why we were able to get the likes of Gusto into overlapping positions to get crosses in. So it certainly worked well in that point. And yeah, all credit to Poch for the setup. And of course, like Couch said, I think a 1-1 draw would be a fair result over the reflection of the game. But yeah, we absolutely could have been 2 or 3 up at halftime. Obviously, then they could have probably equalized earlier, maybe even gone on to score more, because again, playing attack versus defense for the last 20 minutes for Man City, they would back themselves to score goals. And then that obviously comes to Sherwood's point about how many chances they missed. Yeah, they absolutely did miss chances. And that's why, again, tactically, I obviously, of course, give Poch credit for the setup, but the in-game changes and how we altered the game tactically, for me, allowed us to concede a lot more pressure than we really needed to. And against Man City, playing attack versus defense for 20 minutes plus injury time, it's not a good look, and you're only setting up these inexperienced players to withstand so much pressure that I can't really back them to see out. Again, this is prime Chelsea with maybe Mourinho's team with like Terry, Carvalho, Ashley Cole, Paulo Ferreira, like that team, or even just top defensive teams like that with so much experience and tactical now. So yeah, maybe they can see out a game like that against Man City. But these young players, I feel like Poch just shot his load too early in terms of going defensive and left us in a position where it was always going to be difficult to defend that 1-0 lead.
So you mean when you say defensive, because he brought on Chalobah for Palmer at 71, you know, like obviously for me, when I'm looking at the game, I'm looking at who's fatigued, who can actually go the distance. And I think that the substitutions for me just prove that the guys are shattered, right? Like, I don't know if you could, and then if you look at the bench, what was on the bench to bring on to actually like bring more structure, the same sort of like intensity that you have in the game. I don't know if we had that. You know, the bench was what? Bettinelli, Nkunku, Mudryk, Madueke, Casadei, some guy Samuel-Smith, I don't even know who he is, and Harrison, and Gilchrist. Like, there's not much on that bench that you can look to say, okay, the same intensity, the same game plan is working for us. How do we change? You know, like, what do you bring on to change the game is what I'm saying. Yeah,
no, for me personally, where I think it went wrong is the Casadei sub. For me personally.
For who though? So who would you bring up?
I listen, look, if you're going to take Jackson off, I would have at least had someone else up there with Nkunku. I would have kept. I liked what we done when we went back to the back five. I think it made sense. Don't get me wrong. Yep. A little bit early, maybe, but I get why he did it, because when you look at the substitutions that City were making, they brought on Bernardo Silva and they took off Alvarez, who in that pocket. Let's be serious. I thought Alvarez had a very poor game. I thought
he was awful.
He's not a midfielder.
So they brought him on to be the, you know how he does, the instrument, getting in the pockets, receiving balls, turning this, that, the other. So automatically, what Poch is thought of doing is, right, we need to shut up box, because he's going to be knocking little balls over the top, through the middle. We need to be, so I get that. But what I would have done when he brought Jackson off is I probably would have just thrown on the forward, if with a Mudryk and a Madueke, and I would have just played them off. I would have just played them off in Nkunku. And at least then when we went forward
we would have had a counter. When we took all of them off and just left Nkunku up there, he couldn't hold the ball up on his own
And
up there.
that's the issue. Like that's the issue because you see,
too deep in the game, you know, and that was the issue because we couldn't then get out. And I felt like we invited the pressure more at the end because the way we were set up, and that was the problem. We didn't need to do that because if you look at the rest of the game and how it went, even when before he made the Casadesa, but it was still Jackson and Nkunku up front, we always had a bit of an outlet to get up the pitch still. If that made sense, and that helped.
Yeah, but we weren't really getting out though. Like, and again, like it's whether or not you think that the players that you bring on are going to be able to give you the same intensity, give you the same sort of like work rate and whatnot.
If Mudryk just uses his speed and runs, that's enough for me.
Not enough.
Right
that's not enough because you're not going to have multiple opportunities for him to run at the defense, man. When they're in control of the football, he has to be able to sit in that shape and be disciplined, soak up pressure, and then also put in a shift. And I don't think Madueke maybe Madueke, he did it like against the Aston Villa game a bit. He was pretty good defensively going back and forth, but certainly not Mudryk. I can't see an instance where you put Mudryk in at the Etihad with 20 minutes to play, you're up 1-0 and expect to see Chelsea, see out the match. It's just, as much as I hear you guys, I think that we went obviously ultra defensive. And even when you think of the fact that when in the first half, Cole Palmer was dropped. We basically played a back five when we were defending anyways, because Cole Palmer was doubling up with Gusto on what's his face? On Doku. So it was very, very deep, right? Yeah. But, I just don't know if you can trust some of these other guys to give you that sort of like work rate and effort in those positions. And, we could be wrong. I could be wrong. I just think that the bench.
I would have brought one more attack up, actually. I already said that.
Yeah. I want to just have my say on this because again, obviously, Couch, you said that maybe Palmer was tired and Jackson was tired, but you ultimately don't know how much they had left in their legs, right? But I still feel like there was enough certainly in Palmer to stay on, right? Because again, you guys talk about the outlet in terms of like when Nkunku came on and then obviously Jackson came off, it was only Nkunku. And we've seen Nkunku before be like sort of like almost used like a target man, as like a man by himself to lead the attack when we're defending a lead. We saw against Luton, and we saw how we almost threw was it a 3-0 lead that we had there? And again, there was no transition because you couldn't even get the ball to stick and then play that final ball. And for me, there's two parts to a transition. Obviously, there's the final action, which is having somebody with pace running in behind, testing their defense, trying to draw fouls and whatnot, which Nkunku didn't really bring. But there's also the first part to that, which is actually, okay, where does that first pass go? Can they then get past the press? Can they actually then look up with vision and pick out that ball? And obviously, to you guys' point, absolutely, there isn't another Palmer on the bench. But I don't feel like you need to take off Palmer in that instance because he can still offer that. And once you take him off and you go to a back five, it's like you're ultimately saying, cool, we're done attacking for today. If we can get anything, if you guys make a mistake, cool, we'll take it. But otherwise, we're just here to sit back and just try and just defend for our lives. And really, that's not the message you want to send out at the Etihad. Like, you can't do that for 20 minutes with these players.
It's not even the message, though. Like, even before those substitutions, we were certainly on the back heel and not getting out either, though. It wasn't like the game drastically switched when we went to a back five. It was very much them in control and giving opportunity. Guys, come on, let's not.
I think we were struggling, but I feel like there were still opportunities to get out, and we were still taking some of them. And again, listen, I don't mind the back five because Doku was getting a lot of opportunities, and even though Gusto did lock him up for the most part, right? There was still too many opportunities where Doku was getting it in space to try and drive, and then obviously if he didn't make anything happen, it could still come to somebody else to then use the space that he was basically making. So I didn't mind the back five, but it's then you still need outlets with the back five, and we didn't have enough outlets once you took off Palmer, you took off Jackson. You have Nkunku, who we can now see. Okay, I don't want people to start like making like quick assessments on him, saying that he's not this, he's not that, he's not a good player anymore, or whatever. Like, I think we can just judge him right now, which he doesn't look fully fit, and he isn't giving you much of an outlet. I think he definitely needs support. Yeah, he didn't have a good impact off the bench, and I can accept that. And I can also see why Poch doesn't want to trust him from the wing yet, because Sterling offers a lot more defensively than what Nkunku probably will offer right now. I get that. But if you want to bring in Nkunku on, you need outlets of people to try and retain possession to get him into the game. Otherwise, we're not going to have any. We're not going to have any like response. We're going to just be constantly defending, and there's no opportunity for us to relieve that pressure.
There's also
I agree with that, but at the same time, for me, it just comes down to what you have available, right? And I mean, if I'm right, and like obviously Cole Palmer looked tired on a yellow as well.
Even Gallagher was tired. He said it after the game. He said, He goes, it was knackering. He goes,
there's a lot.
Yeah, of course they're knackered, but they can still give enough.
The shift that those guys put in, like the first half, about the first 70 minutes or something, there was a lot of running involved. Like, we worked extremely hard to keep that 1-0 for as long as we did. And I mean, yeah, like if we had a full complement of players, would I like to see a little bit more, a different sort of like application of what we have on the bench? But I just don't think that in that game at Etihad, the move is to go, like for like, and look for the same sort of adaptation from the guys from the bench. I just didn't think we had those guys, but I could be
I
wrong.
just think for me, just to end on this point, like I feel for me, a back five, you leave Palmer, and then you have your two outlets in the attack, so that he can actually try and find them, and you protect Palmer a little bit. Obviously, now there's a back five as well. And again, like it's Etihad. It's going to be obviously, you're going to be time where you're defending and you're having to like accept the pressure, and then obviously then try and play it. And I feel like we just went too early with being defensive, and I feel like with these players, like listen, okay, one point I want to make actually quickly is that, like, listen, we haven't played Europe this whole season, and we're coming off a free week, right? So you might be right, Couch, that these players were just shattered, but ultimately, can I accept that as a reason why some of them can't play 90 minutes when it's only 90 minutes they're going to play in a week? We now have a free week to Liverpool, so it wasn't like we have a game to worry about midweek. And even before that, City played 3 games this week. We only played 1. So for me, like, why can't Palmer play 90 minutes at this point? If we need Gallagher to play 90 minutes and be knackered afterwards, cool. But I think for me, Gallagher certainly gave a good account of himself and played with full energy for the 90 minutes. Yeah, he was shattered afterwards, but he still did everything he could in the 90 minutes to help us win. And
what Gallagher did very well in that game, and again, if you look at it from a tactical standpoint, is he completely writ off Rodri most of that game. Every time Rodri had the ball, he was literally on his knees every time. It was even to a point where I think it was in the first half later, he kept going at his shins, and he got a free kick, and Rodri turned around and was like, "What are you doing? Like, you're annoying." Like, like you look at someone that's bee in your ear. He's like,
he was annoyed, man. That's a good. And
that's the same thing at the bridge as well.
That's a victory for Conor Gallagher for me. Like, if you're frustrating your opponents like that, and this guy's like, losing his composure, pushing, that's a win, man. Like, that's
it's a W. But that was also the plan of how Poch set us up. He said, "Look, Gallagher, we all know that you're one of probably the best at running around without the ball and chasing people around. I've got a beautiful job for you. Yeah, do me a favor. Just man-mark Rodri the whole game." And do you know what? You don't realise how key it is to the way Man City play, because the one thing we done very well in that game, not only did we close the tight pockets between the midfield and defence, which means De Bruyne and Alvarez got squeezed that they had to go towards the ball rather than receive, but Man City had to keep going down the wings. Did you know and not notice how much they had to keep just going like that all the time rather than
but let me also say this, right? Like, again, most of us weren't confident we were going to get something out of this game, because I didn't feel like we were going to be clinical, and we weren't clinical for a lot of the game until Sterling took his goal brilliantly, right? But I didn't anticipate Pep making so many mistakes in terms of like the squad, the team selection. Like, playing with the inverted centre back and you're choosing Akanji over Stones, to me didn't make sense. So you got Rodri, who of course is a great DM, but he needs support around him, and you got Akanji, who's not comfortable in pockets. Then you then have Alvarez, who's a striker in midfield, doesn't work. If it's Bernardo Silva, I think it's a different game, to be honest. And then De Bruyne, who we can all agree is a great footballer when he has the ball, but he isn't what he was 3-4 years ago, where he's involved in the whole game throughout. No, he's more of like a moments kind of player. And that's not to say that he's bad or he's washed. He's just different now. So that's what allowed us to be able to overwhelm them in midfield and have these opportunities. I just feel like it was a great game plan that we executed until 70 minutes. And you can put it sometimes on the players, maybe the lack of squad depth, cool, but Poch's decisions, it didn't help us like keep the result that we had. And it's not the first time, because you can say, oh, we can get away with it, it's Etihad, cool, it can happen. But I've seen it with Luton, I've seen it with other games where we've thrown away control and could easily and have dropped points, which have cost us in the season, which is why we're 10th. Like, still not good enough at the end of the day,
Yeah, and I agree with that. And I thought Sterling done okay for what he was asked to do on the pitch. But where we suffer, if you look at the chances we created in the first half, right? They're really gilt-edged chances. There was one where Gallagher gets down the wing and he cuts the ball back inside, and it's literally the ball's just rolling through the middle of the penalty box. And I think Jackson was on the outside of it and whatever. But you just know in the back of your head, if Nkunku was playing on that, if he was on that pitch playing as an inverted left forward, he's going to be in that position. Do you know what I mean? And these are the things, like, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, Nkunku's not great at, it doesn't look like he's going to be great defensively. But what he could offer us when we're on the counter and we find ourselves in them pockets and we're creating in the box, I think you could kind of get away with, because once he's there and he's in front of goal, I'm telling you, I know we're not seeing it properly yet. He's going to score goals. The guy is going to score goals for fun, especially the way that we're created against City, And I thought Sterling took his goal very well, by the way. The way he cut back in and then sort of had to then curl it into the top corner against Ederson. It was a good finish, don't get me wrong. I thought Jackson impressed me very well. He impressed me a lot, Jackson, playing in the forward line. And the way
he's not a bum anymore, yeah?
Do you know what it is with him? He still frustrates me a little bit. He still frustrates me a little bit, and I think you can agree that he can see parts of his games that are annoying still, you know. But however, what he does do very well in a game like City or a team where they're going to press high and he's having to drop deep to receive and the spaces behind, is playing to his game. Where it becomes a bit of an issue for Jackson for me is when they're playing against the low blocks and hasn't got the freedom and the movement to be able to do it. It's just picking the ball into him, and then he's got to try and do something. That's not Jackson. The game suited Jackson is what I'm saying. The game suited Jackson. Let's be serious. That's the space, the dropping deep, the people running off him behind. All right, the little flicks and that were quite nice for the goal and that. You know, he held the ball well. And what I like about him is he just runs around sometimes, a bit like Gallagher. He just chases defenders.
Yeah, he's a busybody. He's a busybody. Yeah. But first of all, big up boys. Yeah, I mean, Asda right now. Is there background noise right now?
No, you're all right.
Good. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, no, listen, everything that you lot are saying, I definitely get what you're saying, Ford. I think I'm more with Ford on this one in terms of the changes that he made in the second half. I think in the first half he got his spot on with the in-game management. But I think Couch has a point as well, man, when it comes to looking at the bench. We can see that this manager doesn't. No, bro. Couch knows that I hear some of his takes that he says, innit? But I just feel like when we've got a take, he doesn't want to hear it at times, innit? You get what I'm saying? So I get what he's saying about the bench. Yeah, for me, I would have been braver because you guys know I've been getting onto this manager about how much of a pussy he is and he doesn't want to be brave in certain situations. For me, I would have gone like for like. If you're gonna take off if you're gonna take off Sterling, you know, bring on Mudryk. Yeah, I know Mudryk hasn't played in the last 3 games or whatever, but that was a lot of space for him to work with. And right now, Kyle Walker, he's not the same player, bro. Do you know what I mean? You want a player like Mudryk to just run into the space, right? Obviously, with Palmer, you know, I was looking at the bench. I mean, I'm not really going to bring Koopy on the right-hand side, to be honest. I don't think he's a right winger. We didn't really have any creative outlets because Carney's injured at the moment. That was the annoying thing. So that side of things, I understood that. But there should have been someone that could connect something with Nkuku, man. Because when he was up there, like you guys have said already, he was just so isolated, bro. The ball was going up to him. He didn't even look like he's played football in his life. How we had him looking out there, and I've got to look at the manager for that. Do you know what I'm saying? And this game plan of bringing on Cassidy, yeah, I know Cassidy's tall, but I don't know if you guys noticed. The game plan with him was to lob it up to him, yeah, and hopefully he can flick it up to Nkuku. He was meant to be the connector.
He did it a couple times too, though. He did it a couple times. He won a couple of aerials in dangerous areas too.
Yeah, he did. But what I'm saying is that game plan, it literally looks like I was watching West Ham. And it's only going to work against Man City if there's like 5 minutes left of the game. There was about 20 minutes left. Yes. And there's only so long that you can hang on with Man City because, bro, these lot were going to get chances regardless. But we had to just keep playing our game until at least 5-10 minutes, right? It was a little bit too early. And I've said it on a few streams already. If there was like 5-10 minutes left of the game, we lose that game, bro. I'll be real. We lose it because it was just too much pressure. You know, individually, our backline was solid. Disasi, Levi looked really comfortable at the back. Gusto again. Even Chilwell was good. You know, Foden didn't do much to him. He must have seen that graphic before the game that I put in a group chat of my man on the floor and that, yeah. He must have seen he must have seen it on the floor. You get what I'm saying? But honestly, bro, I think in the first half it was spot on. And if we play like that majority of the season, we win most of these games because not everyone is as good as Man City. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Most of these teams we wrap up if we play like that. Right,
I just feel like we're better playing on the counter though. Like I think we have a team set up better to play on the counter than in possession. Like
100.
But most games we're gonna have control of the ball because we've got better players than a lot of the teams in this league. But it's just Man City have more quality than us. And on top of that, they were at home. And let's not act as if, you know, I even said it in the group chat. We made ourselves at home, bro. Not a lot of teams can say that at the Etihad. When I was watching the game, it literally looked like we was the home team. A huge part of that. You know what I'm saying? So. It was a game. I would say it was a game of two halves on Poch's side of things. I think the players, they had a good game overall. I think they done their job. You know, they won their duels. They were really switched on. Because remember before the game, I said, bro, everyone will need your A game. Yeah, against Man City, every single person has got to be switched on. Every single person has got to know what they're doing. And these guys were good. You know, I've got to give a 10 out of 10 for the players. But for Poch, I'm sorry, man, it was good, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. But it's a good way. It's a good way of going into the final, innit? Because you guys know I wasn't confident before Liverpool. But now
going to the final.
Got a little bit more. It's giving us belief for sure.
Belief. A
little bit of belief. But before we go on to, we're going to be doing a tier ranking, guys, of the players so far this season. That's coming up in a minute. Before we do that, I want to go to AJ and I'll ask him about, firstly, AJ, how are we doing, my boy?
Yo, big up, guys. What's up? What's up?
You're saying, bro, good to see you. Obviously, what was your thoughts on the game? But also, what was your thoughts on the performance of this Sassy?
Firstly, I mean, you guys said everything about the game. I think it's probably one of our most complete performances, except that last, equalizer. But again, I'm going with Couch. The substitutions he made, at least structurally, were correct. Maybe the personnel was not correct, but the timing of the substitution and the structures that we went to were correct because City was going to score. Again, before he made the back five change, we were under serious pressure. Like out of the whole game, probably the most pressure we were under for that 5 minutes. And I know we talked during the game. I know even in that sequence, I was writing in the chat like, yo, this guy has to make a change. And then I seen when Chalobah was getting prepared to come on, and I asked you guys, DM or back five? And a couple of you said back five. So it's funny to me now that we are switching it up a little bit, after the fact, because I think we were all feeling that pressure in that sequence. But again,
I said back five, by the way. I said back five.
You did say back five.
I said back
But I
five.
think nobody here is saying that we wanted to keep the back four. I think it's just who we took off. I just didn't agree with that for me.
No, as soon as Chalobah come on, you knew it was a back five. For me, I did anyway.
And back five is cool, but you keep Palmer to actually sustain attacks because Palmer can actually keep the ball under pressure and then help us find Nkunku. Because without Palmer, nobody was finding Nkunku.
And that's
I wonder how many
went
touches
wrong.
those guys had. Like this will be an interesting stat for you statisticians out there. How many touches we were getting in their half at the beginning of the second half into when those substitutions were made?
We
were under the cosh the entire half.
Basically,
I don't think that we were getting much going forward at all. But I could be wrong. I'd like to see what that looks like, though. Those numbers, like how many touches we were getting, and what we were doing with those touches.
It'd be good. I don't know how we'd be able to look at that, but it'd probably be good to have a look in. But we haven't spoke about the midfield. That's the one area we didn't really speak about. We know Conor Gallagher played very, very, very well in his role, and I agree. I thought he had a good game. What are your thoughts on Enzo and Caicedo playing closer together, deeper?
The midfield is important because you can see that that's the one area where Poch doesn't really have many options to change it. So it always ends up being those three, regardless of the scenario. So I think obviously Enzo and Caicedo as a pivot, over the past couple games, they've performed and shown that, play these guys in tandem with each other, build up the connection, focus the energy on them, literally tell them, you two work together. And you see the difference in the play, in the structure, in the build-up, in the solidarity, and even in the defensive situations. Everybody's now praising Enzo. Oh, I didn't know Enzo he's a dog, he could do it. He's doing the same shit.
Been a dog.
And that's what I'm saying. But Poch has refused him. Poch has placed him that 10 yards further that has taken that out of his game since he's been at Chelsea.
What I would say, though, AJ, is I feel like it does limit in the first half, he was kind of where he was playing deeper. He was still helping us get out of the pitch. If you notice, he was playing forward all the time. He got the ball quickly. He was like bang, bang, bang. But it does limit that, especially when you're playing against a team that has more of the ball in you. So I think Enzo knew that, and I think Caicedo obviously knew that. And I think in many ways they kind of maybe sacrificed the going forward more, which I think you could see. I think Enzo did still creep forward a little bit here and there, but not too much. But I just think with Caicedo specifically, not more so because I thought Enzo was fine. I thought Gallo was. I like Caicedo, but he really annoys me sometimes. And the only times he really annoys me is he's erratic tackling. Like he would just do the most dumbest.
He reminds me of Jim, yeah. What's that Pokemon with the long arms? The brown Pokemon with the long arms, bro. He reminds me of that. He reminds me of that. There's times I look at him, yeah, and he's just running, and it's like, what are you doing, bro? Are you lagging? Are you lagging, or like what's going on? Like, have you just decided to just do your own thing? Yeah, man. But bro, after that yellow card, yeah, I don't know what got into him, but my man just started playing like Prime Makelele, Kante. Do you know what I'm saying? He just switched it on, man. But listen, that dynamic is what we were begging for, all season. Even when we signed these guys, we all said it, like these guys have got to play as a pivot. You've got to play them close to each other. And I think Enzo, he was really good, man, because he was just keeping it simple. He was winning the ball back. There's a myth, like you said, Jem, that Enzo can't defend. Obviously, if you've got Enzo with no one next to him, of course guys are going to skip past him because he's not a destroyer. That's not his game. But he's a tenacious player. Do you know what I mean? And he's switched on in terms of his IQ. He knows where, he knows how to read the game. He knows how to read the game. He knows where to be. So, yeah, man, I think to start off the game, he was the one that I was looking at thinking, raw, Enzo's on it here, man. We needed that. He's just kind of, tagging along. No one's really talking about him anymore, the rivals, because they can see, okay, this guy's playing well. So that was good, man. That was good.
They always do this with Enzo. That's what's funny. He starts performing after a while, and then all of a sudden, you don't hear anything about Enzo. It's just
exactly.
It's just funny. I find it hilarious. But all right, are you guys ready to move on to the player discussions, the tier making? Should we go into that? Let's get into it, right? Because we are going to be talking about the final and stuff a bit later in the week. Probably Friday we will look to probably do that. But I want to go into this and talk about what we feel with what we've seen with specific players up to this point. The way that it's gridded is must start, bench, sell, loan. Obviously, we've still got a lot of players down here. But the reason I've done this is because I'm really intrigued to hear people's thoughts on specific players as of now and what they feel about their usage, their availabilities, what they offer to the team or what they've offered to the team up to this point. Is there a future at this club in how we're doing things? A bit of everything that I want to ask you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a specific player and I'm going to give it to...
Oh, I knew this was coming. I knew this. You're basically going to use our chat, all the discussions in the chat to just like bait guys. I get you.
No. What we'll do is I'll give you a player. I'll let you explain what you feel. And then I'll ask everyone as a collective. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Yeah, that's what we'll do. Okay. So I'm going to start with Couch. And the first player I'm going to give you, Couch. Oh,
my dear you.
Let's go with. I'm going to give him Levi Colwill.
That's easy. Must start at this point. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm talking about his usage as. Forget about just for what you've seen up to this point. Is he a starter for you? Is he not a starter still with everyone fit? How do you see him as a player? Is what I'm asking you overall.
I like him as a left center back. I think he has skill sets that we can use in that role. Okay. I'm not. You're asking me a tough question there because you know how I feel about the defense overall, and I'm not sure if we have maybe Disasi. I don't know. I'm not sure if we have that commanding presence in the back line yet. I don't know, right? So I'm not really quite 100% on most of our defenders, right? Yeah. With Levi Colwill, he's just young. He's got a lot to learn. Like even the last game against Man City, he just wasn't switched on a couple of those opportunities where Haaland, who of course has decent movement and whatnot, but when he was getting lost,
decent. Hold on, decent movement. Haaland. He's decent. I think he's got world class movement, not decent.
Okay, decent. He didn't utilize that to beat him on those two opportunities, though. He
did. He did. He just had a poor finish on the header.
But the way he gets to the ball first is insane, bro.
It's insane, bro. That's world class, bro.
Yeah.
The second, he's got a good leap on him for sure. But like the first one where are we talking about the same game where he was like jockeying with him, and then Haaland just like basically just goes past him?
Yeah,
like, that was poor. That's poor, right? So yeah, he didn't use like incredible movement to beat him. It was just like he was just more switched on. But yeah, like I think, like Colwell's got a lot to learn. He's a young player. He's going to be good for us. He's good in the ball. He's obviously got the mentality, which I like in my defenders. He looks like he's got a combative spirit about him. It's just like learning. So yeah.
But my question is he? Does he start out of all the defenders being fit right now? Does he? For you, is he a must start in this team right now, or would you say he's bench with Fofana back, with Badiashile back, with Disasi? That's what I'm asking you right now.
That's a tough one. I'd probably put him on the bench for me right now.
Okay, well that's a good. So I'll ask you. I'll open up to you. I won't ask you individually because we'll be here all day. But AJ, Don, ads. Who's ads?
Who's ads? You lot be careful.
Okay, Colwell, tell me, bench player for you, or is he a must start from what you've seen of him up to this point? Like, what are you saying?
It's hard to choose must start when it comes to the center backs, just because they all we haven't seen one center back play like 20 games in a row, 15 games in a row, and it's like, damn, this guy is cooking. Like, we can't drop this guy. Disasi, you see how we acting over Disasi right now? He's just had a little nice form of 5 games, and look at how everybody's acting. So we're still looking for that. So it's hard to say. One thing I'll say about Levi, though, is he has the skill set and on and off the ball, but I do think he's soft, but he's young, like you said. So that experience and that dark side of the game and that just growing into his body and the strength will come in another 2-3 years. So, I'm cool with him being in the squad, I don't have a problem with it.
Fez. All right, let's go to you, AJ. I want to ask you about, shall I throw him a hard one? Not a hard one.
Cuckoo?
Let's give him... I'm going to give you Cucurella.
Man, I was excited when we bought this guy, because I was, I've been I like the style of player that he is. He's a solid defender, but he's also has a good pass on him. But I do think he gets beat when there's space or when he's one-on-one with somebody. I do think it's kind of easy to go past him, and that's a big problem, especially nowadays where a lot of the attack is focused down the wings nowadays. So
where do you want to put him, AJ?
I'm putting him. I might sell him, bro. I might sell Cuckoo, man.
First sell is what AJ's saying, right?
That's my yeah. He's sus right now, bro. We're not getting much from him.
Bro, he was playing well. He was playing well before he got injured, though. He was looking like the Cucurella that I saw from last season for Brighton. Sorry.
He was looking at Chilwell performances. Is Chilwell better than Cucurella right now?
Hell no,
no chance.
Hell no. Put it this way,
should he be on the sell or not? He should be on the bench, or should he be starting?
Jem, what it is for me, I'd rather we obviously sell Chilwell and then bring in another left back who's better than Cucurella. But I'll be happy to keep Cucurella in the squad. But I'm not. I'm just a bit skeptical about him starting long term, only because we didn't see much of him before he got injured. And then obviously, like I said, last season he had a howler off the pitch and whatnot, all these personal things. But there's a good player in there, man. And when it comes to building up from the back, it's night and day between him and Chilwell. He's very comfortable in the ball, and winning his duels as well. Before he got injured, the guy won the most tackles in the team, bro. He's a militant guy, bro. You know what I'm saying? He's a bit of a soldier. I wouldn't sell him.
He gassed it a little bit, but
I wouldn't sell him. Yeah. I wouldn't sell him. But I think the only thing about him is his concentration levels are a bit sus at times. That's the only problem with Cucurella. But when he's playing well, when he's having a good game, he's good. Like he's very good.
Okay, fair enough. We will leave him there for now because that's where AJ picked him. Don.
Yep.
Should I give Don? Who should I give?
The other left
back. Let me ask you this. Let's have a chat. Reece James.
Reece. Reece, man.
For
me, I'm keeping him. And the only reason why, obviously, he's our captain. This is the. Nah, I'll start him. I'll start Gusto on the left.
Over Gusto, I'm not too sure about that, mate. Come on.
I'm starting Gusto on the left. I think Gusto's comfortable on either side, man. I'll be honest with you. But Reece, we have to get Reece in this team because there's a few things that Gusto's still got to learn, man. As much as I like him, his final ball is improving. But even the other day, like for Jackson's chance that he got when it was a poor finish, if he whipped that first time, Jackson's just running onto it, and he's hitting that first time, or he will take a touch, which is a little bit easier, and just bury it like that. Do you know what I mean? A lot of the passes that you give to your attackers, it tells them what to do with the ball. And I feel like Reece James has that in his locker. He's got a world-class whip on him. So when he comes back, for me, obviously, he doesn't come straight in. I think Gusto carries on. But, eventually we have to bring him into the squad. But obviously, finally now, he's got this surgery. I just want to see how he gets on with it, man, because we've all been begging for him to get it. So I want to see if it makes a big difference. But if he breaks down again, then I'll be a little bit more open to selling him because as good as he is, as much as I love him, obviously Cobham is, in his day, is a world-class player, best right back in the country for me when he's fit and he's playing. We just can't keep, depending on him. and hoping that it will get better, and it just keeps getting worse. So for now, I'd say keep. Let's see how he gets on after the surgery. Reece is a top player. He's world class when he's playing at his top level, man. But we'll see how he gets on in it when he comes back.
Does anyone disagree with him being a must start? For me, I'm a little bit in between with Reece James. And it's only just down to his injuries,
You on mute, coach?
Yo, then speak on it, man. Speak on it. I want to hear what you got to say about that, Jim.
So my issue with Reece James not being in the team was the lack of the levels of quality. The dip was so humongous in the past that we were playing players out of position. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, etc. We never really had a right fullback. All right, Aspilicueta was one, but we all knew he was going through. He was coming to the end of his great career at Chelsea. Now we've got a player in Gusto, keeping him fit, bearing in mind, and the performances that he's putting in. All right, we still need to see the consistency. I get that. All right, he's still very young and he's not the complete. You can't really compare him par to par with Reece James when they're both on form, but I still think he's there. What I'm trying to get at is when Reece James is not in the team, Gusto, our levels don't drop because Gusto's levels are there still. They're near. They're not there with Reece, but they're hanging there. If that makes sense. We're not getting caught out. We're not getting sussed on it.
It's the first time we have somebody in that position that's
it's the first time. Now, equally, I would like to have both, and what I would do is rotate both. However, what we've seen of Reece James and how he's physically been over the last 3 years now, probably say at least, and how many times he's been out. I'm also thinking it from the availability element, how much we could get for him because he's still on that long-term contract. And if someone like Real Madrid come in knocking on the door for him for like 70, 80, 90 mil, the only time I would sell him is well and truly if we're not able to get him in the team for at least more than 10 to 15 games of the season. Ideally, what I would want to do to him is rotate him with Gusto and that look after him that way rather than play him every blimming game because we don't need to no more because Gusto brings that quality. But I am so unsure with him in terms of his physicality, in my opinion, and his injuries. And it's a bit like the Kante thing. We had the discussion about Kante. That's what I'm starting to feel with Reece James, even at his young age, and that's starting to worry.
I got a question about
but Jem, hold on, coach. Before you come in, just a quick one before you come in, coach. Yeah, sorry, bro. With Reece, bro. Yeah, like I said, we haven't actually seen him have the surgery yet, and I think it's a little bit different with Kante because Kante was getting on in terms of his age. Reece is still young, and what I don't want is a situation where we sell him, and then wherever he goes now, that medical team they bring him back to life again, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, why the hell did we sell him? I'm willing to give him another opportunity only because on his day this guy is world class. You know what I'm saying? Reece is he was meant to, bro. This guy was meant to be starting for us at the World Cup, and then he got injured just before then. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is a top,
isn't it? If you're world class with no availability, what's your use in the team?
I know that, Jem. I know that, Jem. And like I said, right now, for me, like I said, he is on thin ice with me in terms of his fitness. But obviously, it's not his fault. It's not his fault. I've got one more in me with Reece. One more. And then after that, I'll be a little bit more open to it. I can't lie.
Good. He's that good that you got to give him every opportunity because you see how you say, Jem, it's Reece, and then this. There's you know what this costs? That costs a lot of money right there. That's the
word.
That's why you give him.
Those margins are expensive, man.
So because the goals and assists, Malo can't beat that. Still,
No, I get that. I mean, overall, when he's on his game, he's the guy. And let's be serious. He's quality.
Even defensively too, he's better than Malo defensively as well. He's just a better player.
It's just how long ago was it that we've seen that?
I get that.
How long ago was it that we actually seen that Reece James? Is what I'm saying. Like, are we just going to continue waiting like we did with Kante? Wait, it's coming, and he gets injured. Wait, and it's like, can we maybe make a bit of profit here if we're not seeing enough of it? We benefit from it. I know it sounds stupid, but do you get what I mean? Like,
I don't sound stupid.
I get you, bro. It's uncomfortable conversations that have to be had about Reece.
Conversation, I don't really want to be talking about Reece James leaving the club, of course not, but. Anyway, let's go to ads. Ads, are you saying? Let's go with. See, I'd love to give him Mudryk, but I know he'll just grill him, so I'll save that for later.
No, I mean I'm down to grill him if you want. Let's do that.
No, I want to give you. Actually, do you know what? I want to give you Ben Chilwell. Come on, let's go. Where are you putting Ben Chilwell?
I mean, I feel like we kind of already answered this in a way that, in fact, my spin on it is that we have to sell one of these two, really and truly, because I don't think either of them have shown that they're good enough, and it kind of ties in with the whole fullback conversation, which is obviously Gusto can play on the left, and again, could we go and sign another left back? We probably could, right? And obviously between the two that who are both currently in Seoul, we spent 120 million, and neither of them look like a top quality left back that can keep their place. Of the two, I think Cucurella is better. So I would sell Chilwell on top of the fact that his injury record is just even worse than Cucurella, right? So yeah, I would sell, but I do think the club is probably going to keep Chilwell over Cucurella, which is why if that is the case, then I would sell Cucurella because one of them have to go at the very bare minimum. So for me, Chilwell would be sell, and I would have actually had Cucurella in bench.
Okay, well we can't have two left backs there, can we? Surely that means we have no left back.
I mean, I think like, we should just all vote then. Like of the two, if we were to have our choice, who would we rather keep, Cucurella or Chilwell?
Cucurella.
Both, but obviously.
Cucurella. Cucurella can stay, man. Chilwell can go.
I think with the English thing, I think I'm keeping Chilwell.
Chilwell. What about you, Couch?
I don't really care. Either one of them can go.
You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do after? I'm gonna send you lot clips of Cucurella the season before he joined us at Brighton. I think
long ago, bro.
It was literally 2 seasons ago, and like I said before he got injured. Hold on, Couch.
A long time.
Yeah, but Couch.
And like, not only that, like his time at Chelsea has been so poor. Like he hasn't. Really been
but Couch.
Say that too.
Let me defend him a little bit. Let me defend him a little bit, because last season, bro, the guy when he joined Chelsea, his house literally just got robbed. He was hospitalized with tonsillitis as well. I think we forget that he lost a lot of weight. Obviously last season was a mess anyway with the players. Most of them didn't want to be there. It wasn't a good environment to be in. So last season, I've given him a bit of a pass on last season. Obviously, he was poor in certain games. You heard me cooking this guy that when we went to Anfield and I'm seeing Salah just running past him like he's not there. Do you know what I mean? But I can't lie. This season, bro, I've been seeing the guy that I was seeing at Brighton, and that player that I saw at Brighton, I was jealous when I saw that Pep wanted it. I can't lie. I said, bro, I would take this guy at Chelsea. So I'm willing to give him another opportunity. I'm not saying we must start him. I think we still need to upgrade on him. But I think he can definitely be a player that we can use in our squad. I'll be real.
I think that's fair. I think one thing just to add to just tie up this conversation, obviously we should probably put Gusto and must start at this point, right? But why it's difficult with the left backs is that like we let 2 really good academy left backs go that could have been good understudies and then prove their place to actually start in the team. Because Lewis Hall was good in many stages last season. And obviously we let him go to Newcastle on loan with an obligation to buy, option to buy, one of the two, right? And then you have Maatsen, who was looking very good in pre-season, and he's not the tallest, but neither is Cucurella. And it's like you want to make this whole big deal about Levi has to start at left back because of height. I mean, we're still conceding set piece goals anyways. So again, Maatsen could have easily been an option and could have maybe proved at this point he can actually start for us, and then I'd happily sell both of them. But with that not being the case, I don't know if we're going to go and sign another left back. So I'd keep one of them at least to be Cucurella.
That's what I'm saying. When it was
we had better left backs.
Exactly, that's my point. But the thing is, Jem, just on that, I would have rather kept Hall and Maatsen over Chilwell and Cucurella. But now that they've gone, I've got no option but to keep the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say, Ads is definitely dying on that hill of Maatsen, isn't he? 100%. He always has to bring his Maatsen.
I think I'm living, bro. I'll be real. Have you seen what he's doing in Germany, bro? I'm living, bro.
I don't want to talk about it. I know what you're saying. We've had conversations with this, but Joe, we will be talking about that a bit later on.
Did we sell him or is he on loan?
He's on loan, but they're already looking to tap him up. They're trying to just say, bro, you need to just stay here, bro. They're literally benching Ben Sibieni for him. He's already come up from AFCON time ago, and they're still saying, nah, you're going to play because we want you.
We will sell him. We will sell him if Pochettino doesn't see him in this football club, being played at Chelsea.
Unless Poch gets sacked in the summer.
Ames with the donation. Thank you so much. His fitness issues is why he shouldn't be our captain, is what she says there. If that's a guy or a he or a she, sorry, I don't know, but I hear you on that. Big up Breed in the chat as well. Good to see you, my bro. Couch, I'm gonna let you pick someone for me. Go on.
All right, why don't you go with Raheem Sterling?
Dude, have to give me that one.
Yeah, what's
Well,
wrong?
Jem's already
no.
answered this before, so I want to see if he's going to
Yeah,
keep the same energy on this.
Oh,
What's wrong with Sterling?
no.
That's a good pick. It's a good player.
Oh no.
So
Where
I
is
like
he?
this.
It's
I
a
like
good
this.
pick. That's why you're getting this reaction.
He's bottom left, third from bottom left.
Third row bottom. Oh, there he is. Right,
What, you can't find the black guy? Or there's too many black guys on the team now? You're struggling to find him?
Mm.
He's taller than the
He
other.
blends in, he ain't
It doesn't make
standing out. It's like on the field.
sense. Okay. Raheem Sterling, what do I do with you? There's so many Chelsea fans that want you out of
Look at
this
you.
club because of your wages.
You're really good.
Must start.
Must start.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I will tell you why.
I like that.
I am
like
still
that.
waiting to see a front three, and you can't tell me you've seen this because we haven't seen it. Sterling and Kunku Jackson. That's what I want to see. But I want to
Where's
see
Palmer? Where's Palmer? Where's Palmer?
Palmer.
You're not doing this. We're not doing
Yeah,
that.
Gallagher, get out, mate.
Okay.
Gallagher,
Okay.
get out
We
for
can
it.
do that. We can do that.
Okay. All right. And I'm talking about when we're at home, 70% of the times playing against teams at home that are playing mid blocks, or low blocks, and we don't really need, and we've seen it before so many times, a Gallagher running around, which is just not working. He's inefficient. I want to see Palmer there, and I want to see that front three as a team. And the reason I say it is because I think Sterling, Jackson, and Kunku could be a very good link up chemistry wise. Not only is it good because in Kunku and Sterling, I feel are two players that can contribute to goals, but I also think it alleviates Jackson for having to be the focal point in the box because Jackson can do what he does best, which is coming deeper to link play and move us up the pitch. But what Kunku and Sterling are very good at doing, but both of their strengths, is being direct and getting into the box. And I just think we haven't seen the best of Sterling. I actually think Sterling's had some very good games this season, by the way. I know he's had some very poor ones. Let's be serious. I mean, and I know that. I'm not sitting in
You shouldn't be struggling with consistency at this age, though, right?
He shouldn't be showing with consistency. However,
Exactly.
I want to go back to Couch's comments about having players back and people being available and availability. I do want to see him with them two up front because I actually think it's a better front three than it would be Madueke or Mudryk, in my opinion, on paper. And Palmer, like I said, he'd have to play I like Palmer in the 10. For me, I prefer Palmer in the 10 than I'd actually do off the right. But that's just my opinion.
Yep.
But can I come back on this though? Can I come back on this though, right? Because again, like I don't disagree with too much of what you said, right? Like Sterling for sure, like he would have obviously looked better if he had a more stable front three alongside him, no doubt. But at the same time, we've seen other players who are in this dysfunctional team, right? Too young, managers tactics who a lot of us question, right? But we still see Palmer look like, you know what, regardless if he's around him, he's that guy, he can start for us. No doubt, the same thing with Enzo as well. And Sterling, again, you're older than these guys. You're more experienced than these guys. You've won trophies these guys haven't seen yet. And why are you still looking a bit up and down? And yes, he could look better next season, no doubt. But would I want to keep him beyond this season? I don't. I really don't. I feel like we can move past him. I feel like we can cash in. Yeah, he wants to stay in London, all this hype. But listen, bro, throw the money at him to leave and go somewhere else. And he'll have to go. If we're ruthless, we can make him go.
Is it just the wages that is the problem with Sterling for you? Or is it just Sterling and how he plays?
I mean, Sterling's an issue and he can't start for me anyways, right? I wouldn't just have him starting. The very most, I would have him on the bench. But again, for me, obviously, to have a 300 and something K a week player on the bench doesn't make sense, right? But if we were to take the wages out of it, right? For me, he's not clinical enough. He's not clinical enough. You can't trust him to consistently perform, especially in big games, right? He scored against Man City twice. Good on you for that. But other games, you see him consistently where he's just not turning up against tough teams. And yeah, you were dunking a Luton, you're dunking a Burnley, you're dunking a Middlesbrough and all that, Preston, cool. But consistently, can I trust you? West Ham, yeah, start of the season, he's done good in some big games, right? I'm not going to say he never does, right? But I just know consistently, I'm not going to get a top level version of Sterling anymore. It's just not going to be there.
And the problem is, Jem, and the problem is, yeah, you guys know my term on him. Grenade football, that left-hand side, yeah. The ball comes to him. When he's having a bad game, it is bad, bro. Yeah, and we keep getting onto these young players like Madueke, Mudryk. They've got a lot to learn. When Sterling's having a bad game, bro, I look at him and he doesn't look any different to those guys. He literally looks like he's never played football in his life. Do you know what I mean? And it's worrying, bro. It's very worrying.
I agree.
And one thing that I said in pre-season as well, I said, bro, this guy is on 325 a week. Yeah. Last season, obviously, cool. Again, the environment that he was in, you know, Graham Potter had him playing as a 9 here and there. It was a shit show. He wasn't playing with a striker. So I kind of gave him a little bit of a pass. I understood what was going on around him. But I said, going into this season, yeah, the squad's been flipped. there's enough quality for him to play with to look better. Do you know what I mean? And I was looking at him as a guy that's been in the Prem now for nearly a decade, earning the most in the team. It's now time for him to step up. I said make or break for him. And I'm sorry, he has not shown enough for me to want to carry on with him going forward, because he's not going to get any better. He's not going to get any better.
We haven't seen what I've said though. And that's
that is true. That is true. That is true.
We haven't seen what I've just said. And that's important for me, because you look at how we've played our forward line over this whole season. What is the one big thing that us Chelsea fans, maybe barring actually Couch as well, I'll say as well, have moaned about most with what Poch has done? He doesn't stick to the same system, and we play different forward lines. We played different forward lines all the time. We done the same thing when we had Havertz and Mount and Ziyech there. We didn't know what our best front three was. I just want to see a front three being played consistent of when they're fit of this, or just give it a go and let's just see. Let's just see if what I'm saying is maybe the right thing. The
thing is, though, Jem, another thing that annoys me about him these days is just his body language, bro, and his mentality. Like,
yeah, I get that.
I said this. I said this in the group chat the other day. Like, Sterling right now in his career, he's won everything. He hasn't really got the motivation. Like, if he didn't win anything else in his career now, I don't think he'll be that fussed, because he's still earning 325 a week. He's got multiple Prems, multiple Carabao Cups and whatnot. He's won a lot, man. So I'm looking at it right now. I need hungry players in this team, man. And when I saw Sterling at Anfield getting, just leaving Chilwell isolated, and I'm seeing guys like Madueke chasing back, seeing guys like Jackson running back, I'm like, bro, this is the hunger that I'm looking for. I can't have passengers on the team where if the game's not going your way, you're just expecting other people to do your job for you. Everyone needs to work together, and I feel like there's times where he's not really a team player off the ball. It's really frustrating.
Yeah, 100%. And
you're
just to comment on that, it's like he's not coming to prove anything like the rest of these young players, right? He's coming in thinking, oh, I'm joining a Chelsea team that's coming off of recent Champions League. I'm going to come and probably challenge for league titles, maybe win the odd cup, right? And we're now in 10th place. Of course, he hasn't got the motivation to try and get us out of 10th place. He's like, no, I wasn't here for this. He's not coming to prove himself either, really. So that's why, again, another reason why I would want to let him go. And you even look at our squad makeup now, right? Because obviously you look for the rest of the season, would I want Sterling started? More than likely, because our other wingers, which I'm sure we'll get onto, I ain't really rating them too tough either, I'll be honest. Yeah. But with Sterling, and you look at for next season, I feel like Nkunku can easily take his place. Not that they're the same player, but in terms of like a goal scoring player, you can play out wide. Nkunku could be that, because we all know we're going to be targeting a striker in the summer. Whether that's Osimhen, Tony, or whoever, we're going to get a striker. So it's more likely going to be Nkunku on a wing. And then do we really need Sterling to play wing when we've got Palmer already and other guys who can do a better job? If I'm honest, than Sterling.
Yeah, he's probably going to play Gallagher all the time. That's the problem. And I don't think we need Gallagher all the time in games. Play Palmer in the 10 and play a Sterling, Nkunku, and Jackson up, forward line for once. Let's have a bit of a bit of a go here. Let's see it, because we've not seen it this season. At the end of the day, how many goals has he even scored? Like, what is his stats this season, Sterling? He's played 23 games, 6 goals, 3 assists. I mean,
that's not good enough.
That's not good enough, man. And he's played majority of the games, bro. And he's had chances to score as well, and to get assists, more assists.
He's on the same assists and goals.
We know that Sterling is a complementary type of player. That's what he's always been. He's always been the guy on the other flank to finish the chances that were already created. He's not the guy to spark the attack or to make it happen. He's somebody like what he did against City. He did it against City this past weekend. That's what Sterling is. So if we don't have a great, not a good one, a great team around him, we're not going to see the 12-goal, 12 assists.
I agree.
And by the time we get a great team, is he still going to be at this level?
No,
that's the question. Is he going to be at this level where we have a great team? I don't think he is going to be at this level.
The thing is, AJ, I agree with that. I agree.
I'm not saying to keep him. I didn't say that to say.
But can I just say one more thing before you go? It's right what AJ's saying. He doesn't. We, like most of the players in the team, we need a competent system, right? But when you look at that goal that he scored, right? Who are you putting your money on scoring that goal out of him, Madrid, and Madueke?
Sterling, obviously, yeah.
I wouldn't put money on any of them, to be honest, because I've seen Sterling missed out a lot.
But out of the three, though,
That's a
out of the three is for him, for sure.
Yeah. Running in behind, that is Sterling for me. When I think of Sterling, that is what Sterling does. That's where you get the best out of it.
He just doesn't do it consistently enough. That's the only thing. My problem with Sterling is this, and I don't like the team that we're shaping up to build right now is a team that works hard off the ball as well. And he doesn't seem to have the willingness to want to do that. He's not really showing that he has the commitment that way. And for that reason, I don't know. We can't have any passengers on this team, man. We just can't. You know, and he strikes me as one of the passengers right now.
Especially if they're not Hazard level quality, and he's not.
Nah.
Exactly that. Exactly.
Our
that.
left wing and the way we use our left wing and the way we use our 10 is where we can elevate this team.
I'm going to put both the goalies. All right, I'm going to ask you quickly: which goalie starts, which goalie's bench? Go. Who's starting for you? Sanchez or
Petrovic?
Petrovic starts.
All right,
Petrovic.
I'm gonna say neither. Like, are we looking at this for just the rest of the season or for next season?
We're just looking at it as an overall of what we've seen up to this point.
As an overall, so as an overall for me, like I think both have had like good points. Some obviously there's still things that both need to work on, but like I feel like Petrovic at 40 million was a good backup signing that could potentially develop into a number one. But if we're looking for next season, it might be a poor place to allocate funds because I don't know how much we're gonna have to spend. But honestly, like, is Petrovic a real like true number one? I don't know if I've seen enough to say that he is yet. So, but of the two, yeah, absolutely, I rate Petrovic more. And I would probably keep him.
Petrovic is qualities that show me that if he can get the right training, all right. Couch mentioned his distribution being an issue. I get that. If he can work on that, if he can get better in around that, if he can be a lot more consistent with maybe clean sheets and things, which again I feel falls on the whole team really with the defense and whatever. But you know, I still feel like even in the City game on the weekend, he made some important saves. You know, he made some good saves again.
Yeah, there's one really good save from Haaland near post.
That deflection was insane.
Which one?
Bro, he's got
the one from Haaland when Haaland shot at the Sarsi.
Sarsi blocked it, but it went near post still.
Yeah, and he went. Yeah, he went. Yeah, that was a very good save.
I don't remember them being too threatening, to be honest. But yeah, okay.
But
I mean,
anyway,
that was a good save
overall,
because it came off. It deflected off. It deflected off the Sarsi. Yeah, that could have easily gone like above him.
All right, let's give Couch this Sassy. What are you saying, Couch? Must start from what you've seen of him?
Oh, he must start. That's easy.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that is of an age where, you know, you can see the development of a leader in the back line. He's the only real commanding presence we have back there right now outside of Thiago Silva, who we've all discussed in chat saying that he's probably going to have to hold bench for a while now because the team just seems to be functioning better without him. And to be honest, for me, Disasi, he's got a mistake in him as well, right? But I think that if you play him as the more commanding center back in a pairing, his leadership comes to the fore. And, you know, for that reason, you know, I think that he's the guy that you have to kind of like hitch your wagon to right now. You know, he's obviously been used in a multitude of roles. He's been played as a right back. He's been played in the middle of a three. He's played as the right-sided center back, and you know, mixed reviews about all of those positions. But when you look at the center backs that we have at the club right now, he's the one that is probably emerging as the leader and the guy that I think we can build around.
Would you say that's just more of recent, just based on?
Well, I said in my match review, I think that a lot of the when he's played with Silva, he's kind of taken on the role as the deputy to Silva being the sheriff in the back line. And when you take Silva out of that mix, you see his leadership come to the fore a little bit more, and he's more of a commanding presence back there. But for whatever reason, and maybe rightfully, like he seems to play more deputy role when he has Silva next to him. So I'd like to see him more in the commanding role to see if he can handle that. But again, his age and profile right now is what you want to see as a center back right now, like 25, 26 years old, you know, approaching the prime of his career.
100%.
Can I just say, like, I agree with that, and especially the point about like how like when he's alongside Silva, he kind of has to defer to him a lot, and you see him really like elevate and like build. Like you almost feel like he just grows in presence when it's actually him that's leading. And there was even a similar conversation this time last year with Koulibaly, who again we can all admit didn't work out, but certainly his best games. And I think of Dortmund in the second leg, the Champions League, where we won 2-0, and it was him and Fofana as the back two, and it wasn't Thiago Silva. I think he maybe was suspended or injured. And so Koulibaly actually stepped up. You see him; he was actually like talking more, communicating more, leading the back line, and you feel like, yeah, these guys when they don't feel like they have to defer to somebody else, they instantly take up that role as a leader, and you can see it elevates their performance. So, yeah, I think at this point in time, I felt like the Sarsi was brought in as like a cover kind of guy. Maybe he'll end up being like more of a squad player, and that may still turn out to be the case. But certainly on this form, if he keeps this up, why should he not start? Because again, we've all said many things about our centre backs. They're not really been the most convincing, but at this point, the Sarsi certainly is the front runner.
Mm-hmm.
AJ,
I echo those sentiments. By the way, exactly what you just said. I think that there's a good chance he could just be a squad player, but based on what I've seen so far, he's looking like he could be that guy.
Yeah, even Rudiger actually, when he first came in, looked like he's going to be a bit of a kind of player, but then once he sort of like rose into what he became, then absolutely he was a star. Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's just get out the easy one, shall we? AJ, Gusto, easy.
Based on this team, he got to start. He got to start to me.
Well, do you think he starts with Reece James?
Yeah, I mean, even what we got, I'll still start him. Based on this team, he's starting over Chilwell and over Cucurella at left back.
Do you think he's good as a left back though? This is the thing. I watched him at left back against Preston.
That wasn't my question. That wasn't the question. Is he starting in this team? Yes. Is he as good on the left as in the right? Definitely not. Yeah, I don't know how good his left foot is. When he played on the left a couple of occasions this year, he did cut back a lot, so I don't think he has that left foot situation down packed yet. But compared to Chilwell and compared to Cucurella, I'm starting him.
Alfie Gilchrist on loan next. What should we say next season, or should we keep him in the squad? I even just going to ask that. This is just a quick. All
Let's
of us.
put him alone, bro.
I'm alone, yeah. All right.
I kind of like him come off the bench, to be honest. But
I mean, if we're gonna probably sell Chalobah, who you've got the finger on now, like I'll probably keep one of them as like a backup kind of defender in it. So
I was going to say Chalobah. What did you do with Chalobah?
I mean, at this point, I mean, it looks like everybody's wanting to sell him at this point. I wouldn't keep both him and Gilchrist, right? I feel like one of them should be that like academy player who's going to be our backup. I feel like Chalobah could have done that job well, but obviously injuries this season. It looked like Poch wanted to get him out even in the summer. So probably it's best if we just cut ties with Chalobah. And I guess Gilchrist can probably be a backup bench player, depending on who we bring in the summer, of course, as well.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I'm not even going to get into the Chalobah debate. We've had it so many times. Can't be asked. Yeah. Don Badiashile.
Yep.
Buddy.
My boy.
Should we sell him?
Nah, Biff. I'm sure Culture like that one. Culture like to sell man like BB Benoit, yeah. Bro, for me, listen, I would start him in it. I would start him. Wow. I know before what do you call it, after the injury, he's been looking a bit sus in certain games, innit? But again, like we've said, I think obviously individually he hasn't been good enough, but playing next to Silva, it holds these guys back, man. It does, I just feel like these lot are just kind of shackled with Silva. And like you guys have all said, I've pretty much said the same thing about Disasi. He's kind of stepped up as the leader when Silva's not there. And I just feel like naturally these guys just seem to be more comfortable when he's not there, and they're not thinking of the old man they've got to babysit. Do you know what I mean? So for me, I think, he offers everything that Levi can offer, but on the ball, I mean, off the ball even, I would probably say is a little bit more aggressive. Like AJ said, Levi is a little bit too pretty. He's a bit of a pretty boy off the ball. You could just run past him. You know what I'm saying? I think Badiashile reads the game a little bit better than him. And playing out from the back, he's got a similar sort of passing range to Levi as well. So, and obviously he's got good height on him. And in the box, he's a bit of a problem. So I haven't given up on him, man. I liked what I saw of him last season when he came in. I liked what I saw when he first came back from injury against Blackburn. I think there was another game after that he played pretty well as well. Actually, Newcastle was a howler. But after that, he had a good game, but then he kind of fell off. But I still think this is a good player, man. I just think, I think it was more of a form thing rather than ability. So I would still start him.
Yeah, I mean, I'll ask everyone else this. Is he good enough to start? Do you agree with Don, or do you think he is more of a bench player, maybe like a Colwill, Disasi link, or is it a Disasi Badiashile? Because we've got to think past Thiago Silva, right? I mean, from what we've seen up to now, who is going to be the person next to Disasi? That's the question that we need to
mean, for me, like, I don't know if we've seen even between all of these guys, if they've any of them cementing themselves as that guy yet, right? And obviously we still got Fofana in the cut, which is his own story, right? But of these guys, right, I feel like the debate right now is between Colwill and Badiashile. And obviously when we first signed Baddy, right, like, actually, Jen, you remember that I was high on the signing. I rated him a lot from what I saw him do in Monaco. And I do like him, and I think he is good enough to start. But if we're just having this conversation now in terms of what I would start between the two left-footed centre-backs, I would start Colwell, and I've said this all along that Colwell, while he hasn't shown his best quality in a Chelsea shirt like he showed obviously at Brighton and the likes of Huddersfield and obviously before in the academy as well. Like I still feel like he has the most upside. He has the highest ceiling of the two, and again we wasted a lot of that by playing him at left back. But when he's played centre back this season, he's more often than not been very solid and very good. And even against Man City, yes, Haaland's movement certainly gave him problems, but Haaland's movement would give anybody problem in the league, right? So we know this. So I just thought with Colwell and Badiashile, it's close between the two. I wouldn't mind either starting, to be honest, but I would lean towards Levi.
Yeah, I'm not mad at either. You guys know how much I like Levi. Do you know what I mean? I'm happy with him starting ahead of Badiashile. But I think in that strongest 11, if I had to pick on paper, I'm picking Badiashile over him. I think I've seen a little bit more in terms of how he plays. And like I said, height as well. And in the box, he's a pest, man. He's a problem. I think he can get us goals. You know, if you guys remember that chance that he created for Enzo against Brighton, where he literally brought it down and then done the little, overhead kick straight to Enzo. The goal he scored against Blackburn as well. Do you know what I mean? I know Levi scored against Brighton as well, funny enough, in that game. He scored a header. But I'm just looking at... I'm nitpicking right now because they're not far off of each other. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, if Levi starts, I'm happy with that because I think he's a good player and I think he's got a high ceiling. But for me, I'd probably say Badiashile, in my opinion.
What's their age difference between Badiashile and...
Levi's we lost Jen, we lost the host, bro. I think Levi's 21 and Badiashile's 22, I think.
Okay. You see, I was big on Badiashile too when he first signed, you know, and I think he proved why people were big on him because he had like a good solid 10, 15 great, like strong performances. So I think you know, it was justified for people to be big on him. But I think this injury... Yeah. This injury has done something to him. I don't know what it is. You know, sometimes you just need time to recover.
Yeah. The one thing I would say that I've seen is the difference between the two of them. I actually think Colwell looks a lot lighter on his feet than Badiashile. I feel like he's very heavy.
I say that after post-injury.
It moves a bit like a truck for me sometimes. And I'm like, you know, you're coming up against agile, semi-quick, like strikers. He's having problems with me. I think Colwell will deal with that better, personally.
Jeb, do you think a lot of that is down to how he looks very nonchalant? You know what I mean? He looks like he's not trying at times in a way. You know what I mean? He looks a bit. I don't know. It looks a bit.
It's not languid, but a little bit like that. I feel like you're kind of talking like a little bit languid in his movements, which I agree with. But we've also seen his heavy-footed that lead to mistakes. Like you saw it against Wolves, you saw it against Newcastle in the Cup. Like, and I feel like alongside the Sassi, you know, is a bit heavy-footed as well, a little bit, right? Like, I feel like the balance between the two is probably better if you have Colwell, who's a bit more passive, a bit more like, you know, like that kind of like more polished defender, and you have the Sassi, who's more rugged and more aggressive. I feel like that balance probably works a little bit better than the Sassi and Badiashile, who of course they did play together at Monaco. But again, we're splitting hairs here. But ultimately, I still feel like it's just slightly in the way of Levi for me. And by the way, Badiashile is 22, turning 23 in December. So
interesting.
Again, I just think that injury has affected Badiashile because we weren't saying this about him being heavy-footed and stuff last season, but the injury has made it, you know,
interesting.
Apparent. Yeah.
I said
AJ,
that
go on, Couch. You're gonna finish.
No, I have nothing more to say. I said that last season. I wasn't really sure about his football and whatnot. So
I remember.
Couch did say it last season.
Wait, sorry, let me correct myself. Sorry, sir. Badiashile is 23 in March, and then Levi turns 21 in 6 days. So
interesting.
Similar age, but Levi's got a couple of years younger.
Yeah.
AJ, pick me a player.
Pick you a player.
Madueke. Madueke for me Madueke for me is bench. Personally, I think he's still very young. However, I've seen more from Madueke than I have Mudryk, and people may say, well, that might be down to game time. However, I just think Madueke's technically better in the Premier League and stronger and quicker. Not say quicker, Mudryk's quicker, but better with the ball balance-wise from what I've seen than I have of Mudryk. And I'm not saying it's, again, because Mudryk's not a good player. I just think Mudryk is I think Mudryk's very raw. I think Madueke's raw just needs, you know, he's a bit further ahead than Mudryk. Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, that makes
When
sense.
you watch him. And I like what Madueke brings on his game. I think Madueke is a very good player. You know, we've seen it like in small parts of games. He runs at players. You know, he's got the ability to cut inside, go out inside and outside. He's got an eye for a cross. His final finish is poor. I think he needs to work in the final third in terms of his shooting. I don't think that's good enough. But in terms of what he can bring and offer us off a wing, which I like a lot, which is someone that can get the ball and be direct and technically like more balanced and strong and hold players off the ball and, you know, carry the ball is the most important thing. I think there's a good player in him. It's just, does he get a lot of time at Chelsea? No, but I think he has time because he is still very young. And I think that you can mold him into a very good player with the right setup and the right manager to be able to manage him in that manner. It's just with Mudryk. Like, I'm not going to say, I want to save what I'm going to say for Mudryk because I've got something to say about Mudryk. But I don't know if you agree with me. I just think he's worth having in the squad from what I've seen of him still. If you disagree, what do you think? You think he should be sold? Anyone?
I agree. I think his skill set is something we could work with as a weapon. It definitely needs to be refined, though. That's clear to see.
I mean, I don't blame people for wanting to sell him because when you spend the amount of money that you did on him, you expect a little bit more finished article at this point in time. Man.
How much did we spend on him?
He's just like what, 67 million plus add-ons?
Oh, that was Mudryk.
Oh, sorry.
No, he was around 30 odd million.
Not Mudryk.
Okay.
Madueke was about 30 odd million.
About 35. I'll double check it now, though.
Yeah,
we're
going to get
35 around there. It was like 35. Yeah, but I thought we were talking about Mudryk. My bad.
No, 29. 29 million.
Sorry, would I sell him?
Yeah. Or do you think he's...
I mean, I would, but it would depend on what we get coming in. Like, you know...
You don't think he's good enough for Chelsea?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that. I'd say if we can upgrade there, I would.
Okay.
But I'm not adverse to keeping him either, right? You know, he's young, man. It's just hard to say. Like, you can't make definitive conclusions about a 21-year-old attacker.
Would a loan be good for him?
Say again?
Would a loan be good for him?
It's just hard because he's already been at like one of those in the Eredivisie. He played well there. He's come to Chelsea. He's fits and starts. And like, where do you loan him, right? Like, you don't want him to lose like his way, right? You kind of want to keep him somewhere where he can just kind of like find his game a little bit. But in this current Chelsea setup, it's going to be hard for him to, you know, just force his way into the team, right? Because he has other things about his game that he needs to work on. But
yeah, 100%.
I don't know. I think he needs to just fight for his position in the side.
All right.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Well, I mean, for me,
they've only been here for 1 year. They've only been here for 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, for me, right, like obviously everybody knows I'm not a fan of any of our wingers, especially the young guys. They've not been good enough, right? But for what he was bought for, I mean, again, just to like be clear on that, like for the price range that we bought him at and for his age group, we could have done better we could have done better last year, like in terms of buying guys who are more ready at the same age to give us more. But having said that, for the price that we bought him at, is he a decent squad option? He is, and that's why I'll probably just about keep him on the bench. Obviously, the other winger we'll get onto. There's deeper conversations that need to be had. But for Madueke, I think keep him on the bench. He's a good impact player, and maybe he can develop into being a starter, right? Because not everybody comes to a top club as a youngster and then instantly hits the heights and they go on to be like an Mbappe or something like that, right? No, he's not going to be that, but he could be very good. So,
bro, he's got a lot of qualities I've got time for, man. You guys know how much I like wingers that are very direct and like to beat their man. You know what I mean? We're coming into an era where there's too much inverting, you know, too much cutbacks, too much people trying to cut corners in life.
But you don't like Saka.
You know what I'm saying?
How can you
Bro,
like
Saka. Hold on. Are you telling me Saka's more direct than Madueke? You're not going to tell me that.
He's more direct. It's who you like.
You're not going to tell me he's more direct. But what I'm saying is, with me, like when I look at Madueke and I just break down his attributes here. Number one, he's young. Number two, in terms of his pace, he's not slow. You know, he's strong. He's got skill, right? And he's very hard to get the ball off when he's having a good game. He's good at retaining the ball. And one thing about him as well, when he's driving into space, I've noticed a lot of defenders back away from him, which creates space for others. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot that you can unlock and refine in him because, like Couch said already, he's a young player. And I think he's definitely at a different level to Mudryk, which is understandable considering he played a lot more a lot more games at a higher level than Mudryk. Mudryk barely even played 50 games in men's football at 23. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is mad. I think Madueke has even got more games than him at that same,
sure.
and he's younger than him. Do you know what I'm saying? So you got to take that into account because we're going to speak about Mudryk next. But I've got time for Madueke in it. I don't think he should be a starter for Chelsea at this point. But in terms of the future, I see things that I want to work with. I've got time for that. I've got time for it.
I think we need to identify like roles for certain players too. Like, I like having guys in roles where they know what their responsibility is and when they're coming into the game. So if you got a bench role for Madueke, give him regular looks there. Tell him what he needs to do to impact the game, to stay on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I want. And I think that the squad has just been so just helter-skelter, change this, change that, change. Like we never had a settled side and never given these young players a settled role within the team. Like you're coming on the pitch at the 65-minute mark for the next, 6 games, you know what I mean? And give us an impact, I just like that. I like having impact subs and giving them the opportunity to grow that way.
Okay, we'll go on. Let's go on to Mudryk. I'm going to go quickly to ads, let him have his seconds. He's got a dip after this. So I'm going to quickly go to ads and I'm going to say Mudryk. And I'm going to assume you're going to say sell and why. Yeah?
Yes. I would sell Mudryk and at the very, very best, I'd loan him. Because ultimately, I don't think there's enough space for the likes of him and Madueke to develop. Because we've got Palmer, who we're going to most likely put on the wings in many games. And Kunku can obviously operate from wide as well. Some people want to keep Sterling here. I would sell and actually upgrade and buy a winger who's a bit more ready to play now and be like a force. Because we're going to need top players if we want to try and get back into finishing top 4 and challenging for things, again. And can Mudryk do that for us right now? I just don't see it because there's raw ability there. He can be a good playmaker on his day, lightning pace, but he's just so unbelievably raw. Like there's so many things he needs to still learn about the game, and at his age, it's going to be hard to learn those things off the bench and get in cameo minutes. Because people are right to say that he's not had a consistent run in the team, which is right. But if you're a Palmer, you can just come in against Brighton and do your thing. You automatically get that start, and Mudryk isn't good enough to do that. And I don't think it's going to help him just having to constantly wait. So I would get rid of him. By get rid, I would probably sell, but also a loan can work as well. Maybe he can get a loan at a good level and consistently play, and then maybe we'll see something different from him. You know what? Actually, I'll take back the sell part, right? Because that is quite harsh. Because like Couch said, it's hard to make these judgments on very young players. And even though he's 23, he's still super raw and young in that sense because he's very inexperienced. And maybe he just needs that time to constantly play at a good level and then find himself. And if he does that on loan at a decent level somewhere and then shells out, right, then all of a sudden we can bring him back fully confident, trust him with minutes to consistently play, and maybe then he'll show us that he's at this level that he can actually play consistently.
Okay, I agree.
What I see with Mudryk here, like for me, listen, as much as I hate saying this because obviously I don't like Arsenal in it, but it's quite similar to what I saw with Martinelli when he first came to Arsenal. I think Martinelli, when he first came in, you could see the qualities there in it, but he was raw. He would just run into. He does it quite a bit now, but he would run into dead alleys. Give away the ball in front of goal. He was very poor. But what happened was he kept playing consistently, bro. He kept getting the game time, and the only way you're going to get experience is if you're playing. And as much as, again, I get frustrated with Mudryk as much as everyone else, and there's so many games, like I've said already, where the guy don't look like he's kicked a ball in his life. And there's other days where I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this guy can actually kick ball. Do you know what I mean? There's a few examples from last season, this season, where he's had a good game. But I just think ultimately he has not been managed well, in my opinion. I think, there's games where I feel like he can be starting, he's not starting. There's games where he can come off the bench, he's not coming off the bench. There's games where he's having a good game, he's being taken off early as if he's carrying an injury. It's just a bit of a, I don't like how it's been managed so far, in all honesty. And listen, if he was to get loaned, I wouldn't be against it. But I'm not for selling this guy at this point. I think there's a player in there. I just don't think Potter and what's his name, and Poch have managed to get the best out of him as of yet. But I'm not giving up on him yet because I just haven't seen enough. I'll be real. I want to see more. And right now our manager's not showing us more. He might not be working off the pitch and that, obviously training. Poch kind of said a few things the other day about work rate and all of these things. But then, Gallagher wasn't playing well and he still wasn't getting drops. Sterling wasn't playing well and he still wasn't getting drops. So he's contradicting himself. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's a funny one. I feel like obviously ability is a big thing, but at the same time, I feel like for someone like him, he's our problem that we need to solve. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's our problem that we need to solve, and I just feel like he hasn't been managed well his time at Chelsea, in my opinion.
Well, I'm going to move Lavia to bench because he hasn't played enough. I'm going to move Enzo to start. I don't think we need to explain these, do we? Let's be serious. Do we need to explain Caicedo? Where is he?
Nah. That's a given, bro. Caicedo and Enzo are givens.
No, that wasn't even Caicedo. Is that Caicedo? Who I put up there?
Wow, man. Easy on the racism there, bro, man. I know black guys look like, bro. What is that?
Is that Caicedo?
What? Yes, it's Caicedo, man. That big smile.
Who's this?
I don't
Who's
know.
that? He's going in load. I thought that was Caicedo. All right. Wesley Fofana.
That's Whisper.
That's Whisper.
Who?
Big Bob.
Dujan.
Star as well.
It's a yard man.
Jem's definitely them guys that thinks fucking Stormzy's Lukaku at times, bro. I can tell you. I see you, bro.
Let's put Palmer up there as well, yeah, because we ain't got to talk about Palmer. All right, let's talk about Wesley Fofana. What are we doing with him, please? I mean, I'll tell you what I would do with him.
Man said, please. I know exactly what you're going to say, Jem.
I'll tell you exactly what I would do with him. And the reason I would do that with him is because when you played when you've missed nearly 65 games in 2 seasons, that means you've only played half a season in 2. Just under half a season in 2.
Damn.
And you spent 70 million on
how many
this
games?
guy. And does anyone remember me saying why I didn't want this guy? Can anyone remember what the issue was when people were asking me about this? Because I know when I was doing Lorenz's, I said the same thing. I said my biggest issue with getting Wesley Fofana isn't that he hasn't got quality. It's the price tag and his injury list. And everyone went, nah. He had that one big injury, man. It's not going to happen again. You know, like this, that, and the other. Since he's been here, all he's done has just been injured. Let's be serious. Them half of the games that he has actually played, I think he's been okay in some, but in many he's been very poor. Very, very poor.
Old Trafford last season, howler.
Yeah.
Howler. Yeah, old Emirates last season, howler. When he first came back from injury last season, Jem, he was good. And then he started falling off, man. But I'll be real, Fofana definitely needs a DM in front of him, man. Because you know he's aggressive. He's like a Rudiger. You know, he wants to play in a high line. If you ain't got a DM next to him like he didn't have last season with Enzo, it's gonna affect his game, bro, because he ain't got that protection. When guys are running at him, there's only so much he can do all game. That's why he struggled at the Emirates with Enzo leaving that big hole in the midfield. Remember, Odegaard kept getting chance after chance after chance. And then Bruno as well. Bruno was giving Fofana a headache that game as well. I remember. So listen, for me, he's a good player, man. But the injuries are just again. He's like a Reece for me. I'm giving him one more chance. Jim. So I can't lie.
I have no problem with him as a player. I think he's got maximum potential. Just his on-ball skills, his reading of the game is really, really high. It's just the injuries. Like, what can you say about that, right? And for me, I'm the kind of guy like I seem to only like injured players. It seems like Lavia can't get off the bench, and Kunku, like everyone that I'm like, I've stapled as like, these guys got to play for Chelsea. They just get injured, so I can't really be one to judge as far as like bringing in talent goes. In terms of like that, but like to be honest, I really think that his ball skills and whatnot represents what you want in a modern day center back. But again, it's hard to say, you know, with any certainty that he should be a guy that we should be hitching our wagon to after all these injuries. It's just that simple.
I agree. What about Hugo? Are you loading him?
Again,
benching him?
Yeah, I'd bench him.
I mean, you'd bench him? You think he's good enough to be on the bench?
Loan.
Oh, yeah, he's good enough to be on the bench.
No. I mean, Dodd, what are you saying?
For who?
Hugo. Yeah.
Hugo.
Oh, I thought you said Hugo. I was thinking, who the hell is Hugo? Oh, Leslie. Yeah, Leslie. Listen, I still want to see more from him, man. To be honest, I've got more time for Santos than I do for Leslie. I'll be real. If it's up to me, I would loan him. I would loan him, man. I can't lie. Yeah, I would loan him.
Okay, fair enough. And Nkunku is a starter, right? Are we saying, or do we need to find a way to fit Nkunku into the system? Because at the moment, I think the issue with Nkunku is not fitting him in what we're doing. And that equally is probably why we're not... All right, the change in formation, him coming on in the second half, switch of systems. Are we going to struggle to get the best out of Nkunku just because of how we set up? That's my only question mark, and that worries me a bit.
Yep.
A little bit. I mean, he has to start. He has to play. He has to somehow fit in this team, you know?
Bro, Jim, they can't gaslight us all season. Oh, you know, we think that we would be better off right now if we had Nkunku. We've been missing him all season, and then he comes back, and then you don't want to use him properly. Like, come on now, use the guy properly, because all season you kept banging on about how much you're missing him, and now he's back. You don't want to fucking use him properly. We need to make sure we get him in this 11, bro.
I need him in the 11. I do. I'm not. I have to see him in 11. It's just I don't know about our manager. That's the fucking problem. I don't know if our manager's going to get the best out of him in this system. That's my question mark. How he's going to utilize him in the system. You know, I think Poch looks at him as a striker, which is annoying me a little bit. I'll be quite honest with you. I think people will want to play him as like a 9 and like, you know, Jackson Brady behind him, when I think it should be the other way.
Well, he can definitely play striker, though. He can certainly play striker.
Depends on who you're up against. For me,
well, not lone striker. He can't play by himself.
He's more effective, deeper, receiving and then running in behind, and you know, linking play. That's Nkunku, you know, like, and then arriving in the box and bang. Like,
you see, that's my problem here, because Cole Palmer is not a natural winger. He could play wide, but he's not a natural winger. And then Nkunku is the same. He's not a natural winger. You know. So,
you know what's funny, AJ. Yeah, the other day I saw an article in The Athletic, and I think I was speaking about Cole Palmer. Yeah, they were speaking about Cole Palmer and where he's had the most touches on the ball all season on average. Yeah, and it's actually come from the right. Obviously, you can argue that he's not had that many games down the middle. But even when I saw the video on the Chelsea Instagram page they put up of his his ultimate team, the card, yeah, and he said his best positions on the right is what he said in it. But for me, like Jem said earlier, I prefer him down the middle, in between the lines, because I feel like on the right we don't get that width. And like you said before in the group chat, if you play Palmer on the right and then you play Nkunku on the left with Gallagher down the middle, it's too narrow. Do you know what I mean? There's not enough that you're not stretching the opposition enough in it. So. Listen, Nkunku, he has to come into the team, man. Like when I saw the guy at the bridge when he came on against Newcastle, I think he came on against, was it Palace as well, bro? Straight away, you just feel like the team. You see it straight away. You just see the ability on the ball. You see the team, the difference. You see the opposition. They're sort of backing away now because it's like, right, okay, they've got another quality player on the pitch, man. But we can't be killing this guy up top by himself like this. There's no way. If you're gonna play him as a striker, you must play Palmer behind him. You have to. Because he needs someone to play with, bro. Do you know what I mean? And then play Jackson off the left. But if you've got Gallagher not playing with him, Gallagher likes to do his own thing, innit? He'll leave him alone. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that's how I look at it right now. If we're going to play Nkunku up top, we need to make sure that Palmer's the 10. That's the only way it's going to work, in my opinion. For now, anyway, until the summer.
Yeah. No, I hear that. Let's go on to the last 4. Let's start with Conor Gallagher, guys. What are we doing with him? Because at the beginning of the season, it was he has to be sold. Then halfway through the season, it was he has to be benched. And now, where do we find ourselves now with Conor Gallagher? Is he someone we should still have? Is he a must start? Or is he just someone we should have on the bench? Or are we making money on him?
Mix and match. There's actually a debate for all of them. That's the mad thing. There's actually a debate for all of them. You guys know how I feel, man. I think start for the big games where you need to press a player like a Rodri, where you need to press a player like a Rice, where you need to press a McAllister at Liverpool, or Endo at Liverpool, whatever. But then against the smaller teams, that's when you got to bench him, man. I think he's a squad player. That's the best way to put it. He's an important player, but he can't be starting week in, week out like this.
Because he's not a complete player, this is exactly why he gets judged the way he gets judged. Because he excels at running and pressing and off the ball work. He's decent at, third man runs, finishing a play. He's decent at it. But in terms of like the nitty gritty of the game where the ball is rotating in the midfield, the ball is moving, him picking up certain spaces, picking up the ball, turning, making a certain pass, he's not the best at it. And for Chelsea Football Club, if you're going to be playing in a central attacking area, for us to go to the next level, you have to be an elite player. And I think, like Don said, yes, against the Liverpool as a City, when we probably going to have less of the ball, we could use him. But for 80% of the games, we're not playing those teams.
So
right?
here's the problem that I have with that logic, right? You're going to keep him on the bench for the little teams, and then you're going to put him into the games against the biggest teams in the world. You see, that logic doesn't make any sense to me. So you're going to start your attacking minded, like beautiful football player in games where you think that you're going to have to face a low block. And then when you have the toughest competition, you're going to play Gallagher.
Well, that's not my.
But Gallagher.
Just ask me this. Answer me this.
Yeah.
Does that make logical sense? Does that?
But couch.
I'm talking Poch. That's not my thought. I always want Palmer in the 10. I don't care who we playing.
Couch. The thing is, with Gallagher, right? Like I've said before, if he starts the games against the teams that are the low block teams, they're gonna sit back, right? If you're not gonna create, but you're gonna score me goals, I can't say much about you starting, my bro. Start against Palace. Start against Bournemouth. You know what I mean? Start against these teams if you're substituting the creativity with goals, because that's one thing that we need. We need goals from all over the pitch. And like the other day when he scored the 2 goals against Palace, I wasn't mad at him starting the next game because I thought, you know what? A little bit of confidence. If he finds himself in that position again where someone else creates for him and he takes his chance, so be it. Because at least, even though you're not creating, you're scoring goals from that position. But when he's not scoring goals and he's not creating nothing in that position, like AJ said, that is when you've got to look at your bench and look at other players that have shown more quality in that position, like a Carney.
We're having the same discussion, though. This is exactly what I'm saying, though. Like this exact same discussion. Okay, so in the biggest games, you want Gallagher in the game. You want him to start. And
if I'm looking at,
here's the problem, though. When you want to assert yourself in a football game and you want to be on the front foot, you don't want him to play. You're basically saying you want to adjust to your opponent, not just play your best. Okay, I don't necessarily agree with that. And I'm sure that you've had the same argument where you've said we have to just make the teams adjust to what we're doing, right? So why would you want to play Gallagher, who you don't value on the ball, you don't value in the final third, in games where you want to be imposing yourself on teams, right?
Because you lose.
I'm thinking this, regardless of what the game is, Gallagher comes off the bench for me. Regardless of what the game is, whether it be, we're playing against a low block, whether we're playing against City, like he's best suited for me to come off the bench.
But the thing is, the thing is though, Couch, the way the guy, bro, even the other day, Rodri literally had to push him, bro. He got mad at him, bro, because of how much he was being a pest. And I'll be real, there's no one in that position who can play in that hole, whatever it is, if you want to call it, And Cuckoo can't press like him. You know what I'm saying? What's his name? Carney can't press like him. These guys aren't shit pressers, but Gallagher he's got 4 lungs. That's the thing about him. He's got 4 lungs. Do you know what I mean? So
you only start him in what 6, 7 games?
I'm not saying you're taking it too literally. I'm not saying keep him on the bench every single game. Like I said, if he comes on, if he starts a certain game, like I said, against the Palace and he scores a goal, cool. No one's really gonna complain if Gallagher starts the next game because, like, you know what? Fair enough. He had a decent game. He wasn't really creating much. He created a few chances, but he scored again. That's what's gonna get people off of his back. But when he's not contributing much against the lower teams, and we're struggling against the low block, people are gonna look at that. People are gonna look at that position.
Say this: if you're looking for your best 11, is he in your best 11?
No, of course
he's not.
That's what we have to answer then. Okay, so if he's not in your best 11, then he comes off the bench for me.
Well, he's on bench. Put him on.
That's where we put him. That's where we put him.
Okay, cool. I wouldn't start him again. Like if he can't play against the majority of the games, you can't start him against like the Liverpools and the Cities. If he can't play in the majority of the games, that's what I'm saying.
No, but it's for me with Conor Gallagher, it's how you utilize him. And I'm not saying he only plays 6 or 7 games a season. It's why don't we start games at home against, I don't know, mid-table teams with Cole Palmer in the 10, your two wingers and your striker. Try and learn how to score goals, score goals within the first half and try and kill games, and then take players off and bring Gallagher on to just close up, shut up shop and use him and his abilities of what he's good at for moments like that in games where you're like, okay, 2-0 up, maybe even 3-0, 3-1. Bring Gallagher in the game, make it a bit tighter in the midfield. He'll get around, he'll win balls and etc. And it just do you get what I mean? Like it's when you use Gallagher, I think that we could use him better rather than how we use him right now, which is just play every game because we need him in the middle. Doesn't matter if it's a low block, doesn't matter if it's City who we're going to concede loads of the possession to, and that's another big key thing. Is how much possession we actually have.
And Xavi makes a good point as well in the comments. He says it there. Yeah, he said the only reason why it starts against the bigger teams is because we're not on their level yet, and that's spot on.
Yeah,
because
that's fine.
Our strongest 11 on paper is just on paper. We're yet to see it. We're yet to see. For me, our strongest midfield on paper is Lavia, Caicedo, and Enzo. That's my strongest midfield on paper, and that could potentially be able to beat a Man City and beat an Arsenal and whatnot. But we're yet to see that. What we have seen is Gallagher play well against the big teams where he's pressing the hell out of the DMs, bro. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. Let's move on. I disagree with most of that. Just the idea that if he can't make your best 11, he should be I don't like the idea of playing somebody in the biggest games because of their if they can't play in the smaller games. I remember we used to have this conversation where we rest Conte and just play Conte in the big games, or we rest Thiago Silva and just play him in the big games. I don't.
What I call utility players. Look how James Milner's used.
No, a utility player, yes, but utility players aren't guys that play in the biggest matches, right? Utility players are a guy that you call in for a specific role in a specific match.
Yeah, but that's my point.
It's a situational type of player. That's what Gallagher is.
Right.
No, but you do play him in the bigger matches because you concede more possession than you usually do when you're playing 60 to 70.
But you don't have to play him from the start, Jim. You can bring him in and
of course. I get that. If you wanted to go on the forefront, but if you're away at the Etihad or away at Madrid in the Champions League, and you know that you're going to concede the ball a lot because they're better with the ball in you, having the idea of having Gallagher in the team to hunt balls and then play counter, which is what we do. Let's be serious. Win the balls and then break forward. Is just another way of playing for us. But it doesn't mean it's always the way we have to play. If that makes sense. We should always still try and play mainly, like Couch is saying, with an actual natural 10 and two wingers and a striker, and actually try and kill teams off. We don't know how to kill teams. When we score, it takes us longer. We should score one and do a Man City and Liverpool. Go and get two. Go and get three. That's the thing that this team needs to learn at the moment.
Exactly. In the first half, against majority,
also defending and defending and you're rock solid in the back as well, and not conceding. We have to learn a lot. We're a young team.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot for them to learn.
Yeah. I think. I get what Couch is saying, but I think you're taking it a little bit too literally, because I'm sure Gallagher would start in other games as well, against a smaller opposition. But what we're saying is we don't need to be seeing him week in, week out starting. Is the point that we're making.
Yeah. Fair. All right. Let's move from Gallagher, because I've got to shut. I didn't realise at the time was okay. Cool. It's nearly 8 o'clock here. This feels good to do a late night stream. Not going to lie, it feels different. Okay. Washington, are we loaning him? We've not seen anything of him, so we just stick him in loan because I'm assuming we're going to get a striker. Jackson.
I mean, I want to see him, but Poch obviously don't fucking trust him. So loan.
Good player.
Jackson's a must.
He looks a good player. Yeah.
Jackson's a must start. We don't really need to explain that.
Yeah. Jackson's a must start. Yeah.
What about Carney? Because when you look at the midfield at the moment, you talk about keeping Gallagher, and having, Enzo, Lavia. All these people. Do you think Carney's definitely one that we keep on the bench as well?
You see, Carney and Gallagher are basically fighting for the same spot. That's in the team at least. Obviously in Poch's eyes, Gallagher's the one. But I think to me, if say Gallagher's out the team, Carney's the next one in line. Besides him playing Palmer in the 10, but Carney's right there. So. And Lavia, so one of them got to go. That's how it's gonna have to work. because if we bring in Lavia into the field, we got Enzo, we got Caicedo. I mean, maybe one of them could stay.
That's a good compliment there.
Yeah,
Good
one of them could stay.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Well, there you go, guys. That's we'll do this again. I'm sure at the end of the season or the beginning of next season. We tend to do it once in every couple of months to see. I like do it because I like to see where our minds go a couple of months later with certain players, like from what we've seen then to then what we see 3 months down the line, and all of a sudden blimmin' in Kunku's for sale or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I'm going to quickly throw a quick fire question to you three before we go. Quick fire question. At your club, our club, Chelsea, who for you is the most overrated player, underrated player, overhated player, best player, and worst player? I will start with Catch.
Overrated, Gallagher. Underrated, Ugachukwu. Overhated, that's a tough one. Overhated.
Gallagher again.
Probably Gallagher. Yeah, probably Gallagher. Yeah, probably Gallagher. You're probably right there. Chilwell, one of those. Best player. That's a tough one. Is that with health, everything? Like, I would say Reece James is our best player right now. He's the one that's closest to being world class when he's healthy. Worst player. Oof. I'm not going to answer that one.
Jackson too. That's good. Not for worse. I was reading the comment.
Okay, AJ.
I don't like this, but our most overrated players. I don't know. I'm not sure, bro. I can't go to somebody else. I gotta think about this shit.
Yeah, go on, quick fire. It's going Don.
Oh, this will be quick, bro. Overrated Gallagher, underrated. Underrated. Ooh. Oh yeah. Fuck. I'm gonna fuck it. What? Can I say Matson for that one?
Underrated.
Definitely underrated. I mean, he still plays for us. Yeah, I'm gonna say him because he should have definitely got more game time. So Matson. Overhated, I would say Disasi. Best player for me right now, Palmer. I don't have conversations about Reece until he can prove his fitness.
Yeah.
So for me, I would say Palmer. Worst player, Ben Chilwell, in my opinion.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you could just skip me, bro. I like a lot of the responses though.
This is does this mean I've got to answer it as well?
Go on, man.
Overrated player, Jackson. Underrated player. Look at their faces.
Jackson, overrated. What?
Why did you start?
There's no way he's overrated. He's overhated, if anything.
All right, I'll be honest with you. I'll start again. I'll say what I think. Overrated player, Badiashile. Underrated player. Underrated player for me.
This is tough. That's a tough one to me.
Underrated player, Jackson.
Good one.
Overhated player, Gallagher. 100%. Best player at the moment, Cole Palmer and Milan Gusto. Gusto as well. I'm stuck between the two.
Cooking.
Worst player in that team? Mudryk.
Ooh.
Wow.
Spicy.
If you're gonna go on loan, I would have said what's his face? What's that striker?
Fofana. Oh, Brojo. Oh, yes. Sorry. Chilwell, sorry. Yeah. Let me leave Chilwell alone for this one. Ben,
he goes there.
Yeah, Ben, I'm gonna let you live for now, only because Armando's there. Armando, you need to get rid in the summer. This guy is the worst right now. The worst.
I don't even think he was that bad. Like,
oh, he's shit.
AJ, you've got to watch this guy in person. Honestly, bro. The amount of times I was watching this guy off the ball, yeah, bro, it's like I've just got to laugh it off.
The thing is, bro was the ball before. not this, bro. Like, he was actually a good player. I'm not joking. Like, when he
Nah, he
was,
was. Bro, don't forget that goal he scored against Wolves, bro.
Like Diego Costa.
Bro, Jem, I
Yeah.
had time for this guy, bro. I had time for him, and I was
It's
pissed that
hardly-
Graham Potter wasn't playing him. But bro, after the injury, I told you, cheese string these, bro. Cheese string. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, but ACL,
Yeah.
man, it takes a while to get back, man.
Well, we used to use that excuse all the time for players that, like, you know, had long-term injuries and didn't work at Chelsea. But then look at Ruben Loftus-Cheek at the moment. That's all I'm going to say. So, you know,
But
it goes to
he
show
went
that-
on loan. He went on a loan after he got back, though. So, you know, it's a different process.
He's been sold. He's in a different system, a different club. And now look at the guy.
He rushed
balling
bro
over there.
back, bro. He should have been sold.
Been
or
watching him.
loan.
You know, he looks good. He looks
In the
is what I
summer.
would say more than anything. He looks different. He looks sharp. He's running off the balls very good. He's playing in his comfy position again.
Yep, exactly.
And he works well with Giroud because Giroud holds the ball and links play with him. It just works. For me, like, it's how he
Always had
likes to
time
play.
for Ruben, man. Always had time for Ruben.
Yep.
Word.
Big baller,
Yeah.
man. Big baller, bro.
I'm sure we could get him back for 20 million or something. Maybe we'll see. Guys, I appreciate you. 2-hour show, 6 to 8 o'clock.
Big up.
Yeah, we're going to keep doing these, guys. We're going to come back at some point and do the final match preview for the final. Talk about our team lineups, hear with team news, see who's in and out. Me and Don are actually going.
Nice.
Yeah, this one. We're don't worry, we're gonna do a vlog for that one. I'm gonna make sure, Jem.
Yeah, we will. Yeah,
We're definitely
Do a
doing a vlog for that one. We're definitely doing a vlog for that one.
yeah.
We'll
Anyways,
do a before this, yeah.
yeah, we're going to get a pre-match Friday. Pre-match.
Okay.
Friday, not Friday. I'm not here Friday. Saturday night. Can we do Saturday night? UK? We'll have to talk about that anyway. But Saturday night, evening, maybe. Let me know. But yeah, guys, big up to you all. Thank you for being here. Smash the likes, and we'll see you very, very, very soon. Peace out, guys. Have a good evening.
Peace.
Peace.